wish I knew it all along. Heed the call, rise above it all. You must fly into the fire. Whoa, here I am, running towards my final destiny. Though it may seem too much to bear,
Welcome everyone to 2017 Blade and Soul World Championship. We are finally here. We've been waiting for an entire year to be on this day, and we are on day one of our World Championship. My name is Joel Sophie. Along with me is Ending Life, and we are finally beginning with so many teams finally introduced in Korea, and we'll get to see many of them starting today. We'll be starting with the group stages, the preliminary rounds to begin us off, and as we advance to the next rounds as the days to come. But so many exciting teams and so many exciting events coming up. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel so great. And as you just mentioned, Joel, preliminaries for 3 days straight until Friday. And on Saturday, Korea time, we'll start with the quarterfinals. And I'm so excited that we have a long preliminaries, that we get to see all the teams and see how they play. And, you know, we can kind of see how the foreign teams that came to Korea to play in the offline tournament, in the World Champions, to see how they adjust and cope with this new ping, new environment, and I hope they all do well.
As you mentioned about the foreign teams ending, you see how they will compete in this overview that we're seeing right now with the schedules showing for us all. It's open qualify, which is the preliminary rounds of the group stages, if you like to call it, for those 3 days. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be those days where we finish up all the teams to go up against each other to see who comes out on top to move to the quarterfinals, which will be happening on Saturday, moving right on to the semis on Sunday. And the week after that, the Friday coming after that, will be the grand finals to decide the winner of it all. Woo! Very, very exciting. But here's the overview of the participating teams. You see here, Korea teams, China team, they have 3 seeds available, and the first seed are the top seeds. And we'll explain a little later on how that will change the playing field. But see, the Europe, Japan, North America, and Russia, Taiwan have 2 representatives both, with Thailand and Vietnam having 1 representative each.
Yeah, and we have a total of 18 teams, if I counted correctly.
Yep.
We were actually thinking of reading all the names of the teams for you guys, but there's too many, so we just skipped over that part. And here we go with the group standings.
And this
group
is where
A,
we're talking
B, C,
about,
Group A, B, C, D. We have them in order. And we do have a lot of teams here. And we have the 2 teams that aren't listed here. As you see right now, we see 16 teams. The 2 teams, which is GC Busan Red from Korea and Sky from China. These 2 are the top seed teams, so they get a bye round in the preliminaries.
So they're exempt from the group stages, which means it's an indication of they're already good enough. They're going to advance from the group stages anyway. So we already advanced them over to the quarterfinals, which will be happening on Saturday. But you see the mix and match. And that's the format that we will have for the first time in World Championship. And it's not going to be just a single and tag separated, but it will be that similar, very familiar format that you've been used to all year long. We'll be seeing them all throughout the World Championship. You see the matches being listed here. You saw Group A and Group B is now listed here, but so many represented teams. And really, the addition of EU and NA and the new additions with the other regions that haven't been introduced in the previous seasons, it's going to be very exciting to see how they do.
Yeah, and exactly. And you guys just saw the overview, and it kind of skipped over it kind of quickly. We do have the first part, like the first half and the second half, as like the Korea wildcard event, if you guys were with us. Yeah, there's going to be so many teams. Like I said, there's going to be 16 teams playing. So we do have the first part, and then we do have the second part at 1900 KST again, continuing with the preliminary. So just stick around when we do go to breaks, and when we might have that quote-unquote longer break in the middle, and that is when, you know, we take a little bit of rest for the players and for us as well, and all the cameramen and, you know, everybody, the OGN staff.
We all need it.
Yeah, we all need it, and then we'll start back at 1900. So don't go away.
The conclusion of it all is that it's going to be a long marathon to finish up these preliminary rounds. 3 full days to finish us all. And that's what we're going to be needing to see how all the teams prepare and how all the teams actually do against each other. We've been hearing, we've been talking to the NA teams and also the EU teams right before this started, and we talked about how they have been scrimming against the Korean teams. That they haven't fared not too badly, and it's going to be a very much some kind of unexpected, you know, thinking that NA and EU having started at a much later season compared to the Korean teams and also the other Asian teams, they're going to be pretty ready to go up against any opposition that they they face. So it's going to be interesting to not really just count them out just yet. And we're going to hope to see them do very, very well in this tournament.
Yep. And finally, it seems like we are getting the players' faces on camera. For our first match, we have Thank You 9527 from Taiwan. And they are going up against
Pengandi. Pengandi also from Taiwan as well. Thank you 9527. As you see here, they're one of the teams from Taiwan. They're going to be going up against very much their Taiwan counterfeits. So it's a very much a home match, but in an away environment, if you can say. See these three players here. And very different to the Korean players is that they only have one class registered for them, so they have no backups if they want to change up their strategy. So Woo Yan-bin on the Summoner is very much something we don't see much in Korea, but we saw in the EU teams and the NA teams and also the other different regions having been to use that Summoner a lot more than the Korean team. So it's going to be see what they see out of the Summoner that we don't. And it's going to be an interesting question that we have to ask of them, and hopefully they'll show us once the games do begin. But that team did have a Summoner. We do have a Destroyer and a Blade Master for that composition. So it just seems as if, you know, the Summoner and the Blade Dancer might have to do some work putting out that damage because they don't really have an Assassin or Warlock to do that crazy burst damage. And now on screen we have Pengandi, the other Taiwan team. And this team has two classes registered for, you know, out of these two players. They're masters. They can play two classes.
This is better than just having one.
I do agree, because you do have some backup strategies that you prepare for the team in case the games don't really flow your way, and you can really switch those up, especially if you have a guy like that. Tang Hoon Chu, we have the Destroyer and also the Blade Dancer options. So very flexibility going towards both sides, and we have another Blade Dancer in the mix as well. So they have so much different composition that they can really work with and really mix around. And so that's going to be a lot of an advantage going against a team that really only has one class registered.
You know, if you remember Pengandi, they did have an Assassin on their lineup. So, you know, like I said, Thank You did not have an Assassin or a Warlock, but Pengandi did have an Assassin and a Warlock. So we'll have to see how this plays out.
And this is the very first match we would like to see with the Summoner, seeing how they really make that into a flexibility, because Woo Yan-bin on the Summoner will be going against Heng Hung-shu with the Destroyer. And usually we don't see a Summoner versus Destroyer very much, just because we don't have a Summoner that much in Korea. But how do you see these two matches going up?
Well, we'll have to see. They are from the same country. I'm pretty sure they've practiced with each other many times. So we'll have to see, because they probably know what the outcome is better than us.
Yeah, they do. And it's really interesting. Because like I said, they're both Taiwanese teams. They've been playing with each other for probably a long time now in the same region. But we're going to be seeing them face off in Korea for the first match of World Championship 2017. We're going to be facing off with the two Taiwanese teams to get to see who gets the first point in this match. Let's get it on. There we go. For the first match, the World Championship 2017 has finally begun ending.
Yes. And right now on screen, we have Yan-bin on the Summoner and Hung-soo on the Destroyer.
Very characteristic of these Taiwanese teams is that they're a lot more fast-paced teams than we've seen from Korea, and they're very aggressive in how they play things out. You see already up in the first moments of the game, there's a Summoner damage.
Crazy with
There's
the Bumblebees.
No way with the Destroyer can get out of that, because the Bumblebee is putting so much damage on the Destroyer. There's no escape tool for that guy.
Jeez, yeah, you don't want that Summoner to just Bumblebee you down like that. Oh gosh. And just to add, everything is in English.
Oh, very much,
I was so I
kind of just realized. Just realized that actually they're very familiar characters compared to the Korean counterparts.
There we go.
But
the cat did some work.
Summoner picks out the first win, but this guy, we have some Summoners in Korea we've seen before, but they do not finish out their opponents this quickly.
Yeah, definitely not. And it just seems like the Destroyer is not that surprised. Maybe they did have a lot of matchups where, you know, the Summoner maybe wins majority of the time. You know, usually when you get knocked out this fast, you have that surprise face or something. But, you know, this Destroyer is like, okay, Yeah, this happened many times before. And the summoner also doesn't, he's smiling right now, but just like, it's the usual, kind of. But here we go. Yeah, we do have the cat holding it down. And, the Destroyer had to use both his escapes super early on, and he did live on for a little while right now with the Ember Stomp down, so the cat couldn't CC him. But when he got out, that's when the cat CC'd him and grabbed him down again right about now.
There you go,
and that's when the summoner finishes him off with the Rumble.
And we always talk about the summoner in theory that if you get the opportunity, it's probably the most damage output potential than any other class that we know in Blade and Soul. But he really did get that opportunity with the cat, putting down the Rumblebee just over and over as soon as he was put down on stun, and he had to use escape very, very early. So very big opportunity that we saw from Weon being on that summoner. So very good job of him for doing that. Let's see who the second players are to start off the day. Gonna have the Destroyer, Sudom Shan on the Destroyer with Husing Chang on the Assassin. And it's gonna be the Assassin that Thank You do not have on their team. So you already know how to face off against it, but this will be very similar with the Summoner going against the Destroyer. But on the other end now, with the Destroyer for Thank You going up against a very mobile Assassin.
Yeah, usually in the Korean scene, when it's a Destroyer versus Assassin, majority of the time the Assassin has the advantage, But like I said before, this is Worlds, and we have different countries that we are seeing now with new players. So let's see how this will go down in the second set. Let's get it on.
Sudong Chan on the Destroyer will be going up against Switching Shang on the Assassin for the side of Pengan D. It's very, very interesting matchup, and usually when we see a matchup like this in Korea, we usually do say the Assassin has much of an edge because of that mobility that it has in favor of the Destroyer.
Alright, pulls him in onto the Ember Stomp, makes him use the flower right off the bat. Here we go.
Sort of a silly bombard that we saw. It was sort of a panic fat finger bombard right there.
Fat fingers. Yep, there we go with the body swap.
There we go, gets a stun initially.
And he has to make his move because he is out of all of his escapes, the Assassin, so he has to take his time and do as much damage as he can.
Definitely we see from the Taiwanese teams very different from the Korean teams, where they do not save their escapes as easily as the Korean team. The Korean teams usually like to save their escapes even if they take the damage in the trade of it, but these guys definitely not really hesitant on using the escapes right away if they are in the face of danger.
Yeah, it's good that the Assassin, like you said, Joel, he did use his escapes very quickly, but he did take advantage of that. So the Destroyer is actually down 50%, maybe 55% health.
Down on his tab escape once again, the Destroyer now. He does get caught by the Assassin once. We would really hope that the Assassin could finish him up in time, but also already forces the Assassin to use the tab escape now with the stealth now being gone on cooldown.
Yep, the Destroyer will get his gust back in 4 seconds. There we go. He uses persistence right now. He has to make his move. The drag does not connect.
It's gonna be the body swap trying to pull him in, but Assassin did not get the strike there as he wanted.
Oh, Destroyer is out of stealth. There we go. He lands that stun. He has 10-second window to do as much damage as he can. I hope he calculated that the Assassin is out of his.
Could not get the confirmed damage onto him.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and now it's the Destroyer time.
13 seconds. Poison Breath onto the.
Might be over.
Might be over with the Bombard. Is going to be finishing us off. So the Assassin gets a win for the Pengan D, and it's going to be 1-1 even with the two sides. Like I said, these Taiwanese teams, they're really familiar with each other about how they would play, so they kind of already know what to expect out of each other. So even if it's in a new playing field that we have here in Korea for them, it's going to be a very familiar matchup that they've always been used to, and seeing how they really progress on with this is going to be an interesting thing. But just a reminder once again, this is going to be a best of 4 for the preliminary round, so 1-1 even. So the next round with the tag match will be our last match of the series.
So right now in this replay, right now when the Assassin was out of all of his escapes, it was the Destroyer's chance to finish him off actually. And when that back roll happened, the Destroyer should have saved one of the CCs to chase him, but unfortunately the chase didn't happen, which gave back the attacking, the offensive move for the Assassin in order for him to finish off the Destroyer. So.
And before the Destroyer started out with the pommel, we saw him slightly start off that Judgment Cleave combo, but did not continue on with it.
Yeah.
He went with the pommel right away after that. It might have been a decision error on his part, but like you said, having that CC available is a very important thing. If he had calculated his timing on the lack of the cooldown of that escape, so didn't do that part wisely, so he kind of lost his chance to win out the game. So it gave the Assassin a very easy opportunity to use the CC to finish him off.
Yep, exactly. And now we are getting ready for our third match and the last match of our first set.
Already?
Yeah. They are tied 1-1, and the tag matches are worth 2 points, which, you know, whoever wins gets 3 points for the win.
That's true, and the best for the first to 3 does get the win, and we are currently on 1-1 even scoreline between the two teams with ENG 9527 and Pengan D, both from Taiwan once again. Starting us off, the 2017 World Championships. Very interesting how they really faced it off, and this tag match should be a very casual, usual suspect for all of these teams.
I'm actually very excited to see how the Taiwanese team will play in the tag match, because, you know, we've always been seeing the Korean players play the tag.
That's true.
You know, so I'm very excited to see different countries come in with the tag team tournament and, you know, show us what kind of style they have.
And we observed them in the regionals as well slightly and saw how different their playstyles were compared to the Korean teams. I mentioned this earlier, aggressive playstyle is something very unique in their characteristic along with the Chinese teams as well. But no more time for that. We're going to go right on to the match with the tag match, deciding for us all who's going to take that first win in the World Championship. Will be the first Taiwanese team to do it. Let's get this match underway. Let's get on. Although this is still in a group stage format, we're still very on the important side of picking up every win that you can, and all of these teams really wanting to do that with Thank You 9527, Pengan D starting us off. Just a win here could grab either side the first victory of this tournament.
Yep, the Assassin versus Summoner, he is trying to take him out of stealth. There we go. The Assassin makes his move. Unfortunately, nothing comes out of it. There we go, the first knockdown and the stun.
The Bombard doing so much damage
with the poison breath.
An accumulation of 3 Bombard strikes and another one doing so much damage. The Summoner really can't get out of this one.
Alright, good interference so the Summoner could save his tab escape to live another day. The Summoner does still have that tab escape available.
It seems like Yanbin is really keen on staying out on the field as long as he can without having to use that tag point early, which is exactly what he's trying to do.
Alright, so he tab escaped and then tagged out right away, and the Destroyer is in against this Assassin. And this Assassin is doing work. He has already given 1 point to Pengan D in the singles, and now he already made the opponent use the tag point first.
And with so much damage output on the Summoner as well as from the beginning of the game, but this might be changing it all because the Assassin takes a lot of damage from the Destroyer along with the Interfere coming in.
Ooh, the Fury build on the Destroyer. How is he going to use it? He better get that right timing to get in there with the CC and the Fury.
He's going to require a lot of defensive interferes if he does get into trouble with that Fury build.
There we go, makes his move.
Trying to go for that damage, and very characteristic of Taiwan to really go for this aggressive build. Even on the Destroyer going with that Fury build, the Assassin is not going to give him room.
He's making his move. The Fury is procced.
Okay, the Fury's proc, but not much damage really coming in. He's going to be force tagged in. Onto the Warlock for the first time. Chi Yang is going to be showing his face for the first time.
Alright, let's see how this Taiwanese Warlock is, because we've been seeing only Korean Warlocks these days. There we go, the Warlock. Oh, the time distortion is proc.
It seemed like the Destroyer wasn't very confident about the matchup against the Warlock, but still tags into the Blade Master, which takes a lot of damage already.
That was a good Iron Fortress to help him out to take less damage. There we go, the Blade Master is in against this Warlock right now.
So Yahweh, we haven't seen a glimpse of this guy first in the singles, but we get to see him now. With the interference. Very quick reaction in 2v2 coming along the way.
All right, I think this is not bad at all. The good reactionary 2v2 is what they need, and they are doing that.
Oh, and the Warlock putting in damage now onto the Blade Master. Yahweh taking so much damage.
Might want
going
to tag
forward.
out. You might. There we go.
That was a good time to tag out. That was not much health to work with. The Bombard trying to put in, but this Assassin just all together putting so much work for his team and really carrying the load of what he's supposed to do to help his team do a victory.
Yeah, the weight of his team on his shoulders. And if you see the resource points right now on Pengan D side, on the red side, is definitely more advantageous compared to the Thank You team right now.
And like we mentioned in the first single that we saw with this Summoner putting out so much damage on the Destroyers, it's only if you get the opportunity to put in damage, but if you don't get the opportunity, it just feels no consistent damage as an Assassin could. So it's definitely the advantage he has there. Less risk going on, but it might be the start of that opportunity that we've been talking about. Puts in decent damage onto the Assassin, which finally forced him to tag out. But it's very good chase as soon as he comes in. The Destroyer was left in a very short corner as soon as he came in, but very good damage output as soon as it. Destroyer
is doing work. The cat is doing work. The cat knocked the Assassin down twice in a row, forcing him to tag out. And now it's a Destroyer mirror match.
Now Ching Shang on the Assassin had to tag up, but as soon as Hung Shu came in on that Destroyer, just had took so much damage with that very short distance that he had to work with. But now the Destroyer is trying to go to work.
Offensive interfere came in, doing a lot of damage to the blue side Destroyer, and he's out of all of his escapes.
And Dongshan, he has one tag left available, so he's gonna use it to Yahweh. Back onto the field now.
Oh, this is not looking good. There's still 2 minutes and 35 seconds until you get another interfere point, and on the red side, the blue side, it's not looking good right now.
And the Warlock putting damage on Yahweh. He might be enough to finish him off, but just survives barely. And Chi Yang on the Warlock doing work as soon as Yahweh has to come in. But Yanbin on the Summoner is back out onto the field, trying to do some counter damage onto the Warlock now.
He's doing some damage right now with that Sunflower.
Now Chi Yang on the Warlock does have the escape available. If he chooses to use it, he saves it for now.
Oh, gets shackled. Right now, it's still not looking good for Thank You at all. They have so many zeros on the
and
board.
That's going to be the first man knocked out. Yanbin is going to be the first person to be knocked out with the Summoner. Being the first character knocked out, but the two other classes, most significantly, they have very little HP they have to work with. Yahweh does have one interfere, but it's going to be with a very little HP. If he does decide to come in, it could be a very risky choice to go with, but
there might be an instant double kill if he comes in at the wrong time.
definitely is.
Oh,
but he has to come in now. There.
Okay, he ends up not coming in, and the Destroyer dies.
Seems like there's no control over this match whatsoever. Ching Shang on the Assassin, just really forcing their opponents to make a tough choice. Couldn't send him on the defense to interfere because he knew that double kill would have been inevitable, but there's nothing really you can do when you have so little HP to work with and you have the Assassin dominating like that throughout the match. But very good at Pengan D to pick up that first win of Worlds 2017. They will get the first win on the paper and the first points on the group stage.
That is very good for them. And, you know, I just noticed that, you know, throughout this matchup, even though Thank You did take 1 point away in singles, in the tag match, you can see that Pengan D has more teamwork overall or more experience. I don't know. Experience plus, you know, teamwork. But they did definitely overall play way better than Thank You, because managing the resource points, you can just tell that at the end of this match, they all still had at least ones on their board. Whereas Thank You, you know, they had all zeros except one, you know, interfere at the end.
I do agree with you on the teamwork part. I do agree with the teamwork on part, but most of the part has to go this guy. On the Assassin really
he was amazing. He was amazing. He is actually one of the reasons why Team Thank You had to use all that tag and interfere points to negate or to dodge the stuns or to dodge this the damage that the Assassin was putting out.
Really, because Suching Sang on the Assassin really made the Summoner, who played very well on the first singles, look dumbfounded because he was trying to go on the first man of the match, trying to control the game for his team. Thank You, but really nothing happened because the Assassin was so dominating the first few minutes of the match, and really the other team had no answers for that whatsoever.
No answers.
So it seemed like they knew what to expect but did not get the win this time around. We're going to go to a short break. After that first win gathered by Pengan D, we're going to go over to the second match after this break. We'll be right back.
push, my back's against the wall, trapped in the corner like some kind of animal. I won't be beaten, broken, left here in the dark. I'm leaving you behind and gonna make my mark.
Welcome back, everyone, to Blade and Soul World Championship 2017. We're back with match 2. If you're just joining us, we've just concluded match 1 with 2 Taiwanese teams having to face each other. Pengandi was the winner out of that one, but now on to match 2. We have Japan and China, 2 regions we're very familiar with, starting from the recent Worlds that we had in the previous years. We're back again with Japan and China. Very much rivalries in the Asian regions, definitely, because with Korea, other than that, the other 2 strong regions were considered to be China and Japan. Now we're going to get a representative from each to face off in match 2 of Worlds 2017. Very exciting how they will go.
Yeah, and it's very weird. You know, it's first day of Worlds, and you know, usually, like we said, always Korean teams, you know, been in the booths and introducing Korean names and Korean players, and now we have Japan, you know, China, and you know, Taiwan and all these other countries, and it's so weird, but it makes me so happy. And
I love it.
Yeah, and finally we get to see their faces. This is on screen right now, the Japanese team.
It's going to be Basilisk time representative from Japan, Yutaka Masabuchi. Takumi Nakamura and Nanako Takahashi will be the representative here. And you see a female player from the Japanese team, which is very nice to see, because we always know that dream of Min Jung-oh from Korea wanting to make the Worlds as the first female player. Well, her dreams are broken because there's already a female player now. Nanako Takahashi will be one of the first female representative from Japan. And I know
she's playing the Warlock.
She is playing the Warlock, and it's going to be very interesting to see how these 2 really just compare, because we have Takumi Nakamura playing 2 classes, but other than that, the other 2 teammates are playing 1 class each.
So we'll have to see, because you know, like we're used to seeing Korean players, you know, register like all of the classes, and you know, we never know what they're gonna play, especially like Shin Kyung-kim playing like 4 to 5 characters in one day.
Just wildcard,
So you know, but this time around we only have a few classes registered, so you know, it'll be easier on the eyes to see what classes will come out. And now on screen we do have the Chinese team, Tourist.
We have the Tourist team coming into play. Zheng Wenkang with Wang Jiani and also Li Xiang as well, being represented from China as Team Tourist. We have another female participant coming into Blade and Soul Worlds 2017. Wang Jiani is going to be the player coming up as the second representative, a female representative coming into the World Championship. But it's going to be 2 teams coming from different Asian regions, facing it off to see who the better female player is. It's going to be very interesting. Maybe we'll get at least a game 1 or game 2 with those 2 female players going up against each other. That'll be very interesting.
Yeah, that will be. But what was more interesting for me right now on screen was that the Chinese team actually had almost all the classes registered for all 3 classes. Even, you know, who says females can't play other classes? You know, people do have this, you know, biased thoughts about, you know, females mostly playing summoner and stuff. But now the 2 female players right now from Japan and China, you know, from Japan she's playing the Warlock. In China she's playing like all the characters. So you know, that thought it should be shattered. And now for the first matchup we just saw, we will be getting ready for our first matchup very soon.
This is going to be versus Assassin and a Warlock going up against the first match of Japan and China here in Worlds 2017. Team Tourist, that player coming in with the Warlock. See how he does against the Assassin of Japan. Very interesting, because, you know, I talk about this all the time. It's my first time at Worlds, and it's really my first time seeing players that aren't Korean. And even if it's Japan and China, I have no idea what to expect. I usually have kind of a pre-knowledge of, you know, what some of the players will do coming in, but these players, I have no idea what will happen, so it's going to be very exciting to see what they pull off in the first match.
Oh, exactly. And, you know, as we mentioned before, Japan and China has been, you know, participating in Worlds in the previous years, so they aren't, you know, new to this environment. It's not awkward for them to play, you know, on this stage in the offline tournament in Korea. They've been doing it. So let's see how these experienced teams or experienced regions, you know, compared to some of the other regions that started out a little bit late, unfortunately. But let's see how these guys play out in this new mix and match tournament style.
You'll definitely be seeing the more experienced players for the first few matches of Worlds 2017 with Taiwan, and also Japan and China playing out the first few matches. Gonna get some, I think, a little bit of working out with the computers, taking a little bit longer to get into the matches, but hopefully we'll get into the matches very soon.
and we have a lot to talk about anyway, so
Oh,
it's
that's
okay. It is better for us. So, you know, Yutaka's assassin and versus Zhang Wanchang.
Yeah.
Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I am so sorry. We are trying our best, but you know, Tourist versus Basilisk Time. You know, it's gonna be fun to watch a Japanese assassin player go all out, and the music seemed to have changed.
No, it's still on the
Is it
same.
still?
Yeah, it's still on the
Is it
same
still?
song.
All right.
They're starting to figure things out. I think we're kind of seeing on our loading screens of the players really getting into the match now. So, I mean, we're just really.
Yeah.
It's not the Warlock. I apologize. It's the Force Master.
Yep,
it
is the
seems
Force
like.
Master.
Yeah, so it's gonna be the Force Master versus the Assassin. But finally, the music has changed. And we're finally gonna get onto match 1. Japan and China with Basilisk Time versus Taurus. Game 1 will get underway. Let's game on. Remember, we'll get match 1 underway with Yutaka Masabuchi on the Assassin with Zhang Wenxiang on the Force Master. It's going to be starting us off.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this Force Master actually is, because we've been seeing a lot of Jung Ho-yoon Force Master action recently, and we'll see. We'll be able to compare how the other countries play the Force Master.
Against the Assassin too, because you know Jung Ho-yoon's favorite opponents are the Assassin, because Assassin believe they have the win once they see the matchup, but get very, very surprised once they go up against Jung Ho-yoon's Force Master. So this guy, Zhang Wenxiang, I want to see how he does against this Assassin here.
Here we go. He's starting right now.
Wallbang. He learned this from the best. Going with the wallbang from the beginning of the game.
Oh, the Frost Burst lands.
Frost Burst. We haven't seen it actually land on opponents for a very long time, but it's a landmine with the Assassin. Yutaka is trying to go with aggressive defensive effort on that play, but nothing really happening there.
Yeah, and the Assassin is out of both his escapes, and the Force Master should know that. And there we go. He should start. Oh, the back roll. The chase did not connect.
Seems like the stun would have connected there with the back row chase, but didn't really happen there. Taka has another opportunity to live now. The landmine now does connect, puts him onto the air, into the whipping.
Not too dangerous for the Force Master, because he does have both his escapes available.
Definitely, yes. The body swap does have. That doesn't really lead to a stun, because he does freeze him up as soon as he is body swap. But whoa, gets him into very.
I think he just threw up into space.
Oh my! He's back down now.
Well,
but
during that time, the Assassin used his tab for his stealth, and now he's out of all of his escapes. Once again, the Force Master seems to have control over this match right now.
You'll definitely need to use a tab escape if you're that high up in the air. So very good of the Yutaka on the Assassin to do that. It's up in the air on the Phantom Grip now, coming for the Force Master, but very controlled environment for Zhang Wenxiang for right now. It's going to be a very easy finish for game 1, and win 1 goes over to China with Taurus getting that first point of the match.
Yeah, and you know, that observer, I don't know, he or she that's, you know, doing the observing, you know, gave us the feels of going into space and coming back down.
Had to use a tab escape.
Yeah, and had to, because if you didn't, you would have stayed up.
I would have used a tab escape. I would have fat fingered it if I knew I was going that high up in the air. But in the end, China with the Taurus beating out the Japanese side of Basilisk Time. Is going to get a 1-0 lead in this series, and Zhang Wenxiang putting out a 1 win for his team is going to be very satisfied with how controlled he was throughout the game. He didn't take any significant damage from the Assassin. Wasn't in any kind of threat throughout the game, and gets a very easy win to start us off.
And throughout. Oh, there's a space, and he's shaking, and you know. But anyways, throughout the whole game, the Force Master didn't even need to use his escapes. He just used his Frost Armor, Frost Burst, you know, the freezing, the annoying skills, you know, to buy time for himself and to, you know, buy time and annoy the Assassin, where the Assassin had to use his stealth right after the cooldown came back, right after, back to back. So it was really, you know, the Force Master easily said just outplayed the Assassin.
Definitely, and Zhang Wenxiang, very good of him. Gets such a clean win for his team, which is going to give a lot of power over to him. But Nanako Takahashi, she's going to be the first female player to ever play in Worlds 2017. She will definitely keep that history to herself. She go up against trying to get a 1 point back for her team, because Taurus, very clean victory 1 gonna be feeling very comfortable for this next round as well. We'll see how Nanako, if she can really pick it up, get a win for her team, which would be very nice going forward with that third match.
Yeah, we have Nanako on the Warlock, and she is going up against Li Xiang on the Destroyer. And, you know, a Warlock versus Destroyer, we'll have to see how, you know, it's going to play out. The music has changed, and we are ready for our second matchup. Let's get it on.
There you go, match 2, Japan and China does begin. Nanako Takahashi on the Warlock with Li Xiang on the Destroyer.
Let's see how the foreign Warlocks play.
It's always an interesting question,
Yeah,
it really
is. It definitely is, because, you know, the Warlock is actually one of those recent characters. And, you know, we've never seen too many foreign Warlock players in this offline tournament.
Oh my god, Nanako Takahashi, she's putting a lot of damage as soon as the game begins. Li Xiang is trying to put a little bit of counterattack onto it. It does pummel her in the face. Very rude of him, by the way, to do that against the girl. Doesn't matter though, because Nanako is not going to be fearing that any moment of the time. She's trying to put in the counter damage onto it now. There you go, gets up into the air, putting in a decent amount of damage. Over to the Destroyer, does not pull him in.
Alright, the Destroyer is out of one and only tab escape right now. She has to make her move.
And once again, you deserve
she CC'd.
It's a Fury build. It's very dangerous, so Nanako has to be careful to not get caught by the Destroyer. But the Judgment, so much damage with the smash and cleave. Enough to finish her off.
It's very unfortunate. She did have her body swap available, but like I always say, well, she doesn't have any emotions. But anyways, like I always say, you need the familiar out to use that secondary escape. But unfortunately, I guess she didn't have time, because I'm pretty sure the cooldown came back for the familiar. But, you know, the familiar was not out, and unfortunately she wasn't able to escape from that back row chase.
But perhaps a little bit differently, because of the Fury build, didn't think it would do that much damage on one hit. And so near the end, when
so right now,
the
the Destroyer proc the Fury and is doing Typhoon, just trading damage off. So right now here, it was okay for Nanako. She had both her escapes. Same thing with the Destroyer, but after she got rid of her first escape, she should have done something about, you know, either buying time to spawn until her familiar cooldown came back and, you know, keeping her distance. But here, when she gets CC'd, oh my god, that actually that was actually led from the back row chase. The replay didn't really show it, but, you know, it was very well played on both sides, but better played on the Destroyer, not missing out on that back row chase.
And good effort by Nanako to really put up a fight, because good damage was being dealt in the trade between they had with the Destroyer with Li Xiang, but altogether, that Fury build, it's all about that risk you're taking for such a high reward if you do get the opportunity to make that damage come true. And Li Xiang really happy with how he built there with the Fury build. Really got the victory for his team. Now they're 2-0 up for the side of Tourist, and with this third match, it doesn't matter. Even if they lose, they can still win on the next single to get the series. So for Basilisk time, they have to win this one, or else they're going to be eliminated right away from this first series. So with this tag match coming out, Basilisk winning this one will lead us to a Game 4 eventually. And that's going to lead to a tiebreaker to finish us off, but match 3 coming right underway.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The Japanese competition is actually very interesting. If you guys just noticed, you know, there's they have a lot of supporting, you know, buying time characters, but they didn't have any Blade Dancer or Destroyer or any, you know, standing characters where, you know, supposedly quote-unquote tank characters. But we'll have to see how this plays out, because they were built with Assassin, Force Master, and a Warlock on the Japanese side, and the Chinese side does have a Destroyer, but with the Summoner and a Force Master. So both sides right now have a Force Master. It is a very interesting build that we usually don't get to see in the Korean tournaments. And I'm very excited to see how this plays out.
But we're gonna go on to Game 3 to see whether Basilisk time can extend this over to Game 4, or whether Tourist can end it right here with a 4-0 victory. We're gonna get the tag match, match 3 underway. Let's get on. first match with this first two people in here will be a repeat of game 1 with Yutaka Masabuchi on the Assassin going up again, once again, against Zhang Wenqiang on the Horse Master. Horse Master did win out the first time they met. Yutaka, a little bit of revenge. Store opponent, but still with that Fury build, so much damage. Will it be the first man out in the first 20 seconds? That was almost.
Wow. Wow, that was very close. And if you see on screen right now, the Assassin didn't even use any escapes.
My goodness. Was that perhaps one of the...
Force Master actually interfered into hell. And I don't know, it was very good, but he should have taken less damage and just escaped out earlier.
It definitely should, but you know,
for the Typhoon
coming from the offensive interfere though, we usually think that a Force Master would do a lot of damage, but it was all due to Li Xiang coming on that destroy with the Fury build, so much damage off the interfere. I don't think I've ever seen that much damage being dealt by a destroyer in one offensive interfere.
Yeah, the wallbang Typhoon is just, you know, it's hell when that happens to you, especially in a tag team match. Alright, so we do have 35 seconds for both sides to be tagged out forcefully, and the Assassin still does have the stealth, and he's making his move.
Taka is trying to stay onto the field. Very good of him to finally tag out because he was dealing with so little HP. And Nanako will be back out on the Warlock, trying to go up against the Force Master now. The Force Master, Zhang Wenqiang, did very well for the first parts of game 1, and also this starting off on with the tag match, but whether he can hold on to this is going to be very important here. But 5 seconds left for Zhang Wenqiang. Hold on, keeping his distance to get that safe tag in on that Force.
If you notice on Nanako this time around, she used her body swap before, you know, before she can't use it, before the familiar goes away, so you know, it doesn't go to waste. That is very good to see.
He's really just sticking onto this. He doesn't bring the Fury build this time around. Trying to keep it safe for the rest of the teammates to not worry as much.
Not looking good. There we go. The interfere had to come in because he was out of his escapes. And that was a very good defensive interfere by the summoner.
So Nanako did very well to force out the interferer with also dealing decent damage onto Li Xiang.
Yeah, she's actually doing very well. She's the only player with full resource points right now.
Sure, yeah.
Still on the field. 30 seconds for her to be force tagged out. Maybe she will be.
Knocked it down once again.
And the time distortion is proc.
Yeah. Time distortion along with that knockdown is very good for Nanako. She's trying to get that damage onto him, but does get pulled in. It might be dangerous for Nanako now. Li Xiang trying to put in the damage onto the Warlock.
Alright, that tab escape was used by the Warlock finally, and knockdown Tether Blade connects.
Nanako has to be a little bit careful now. Although it's not the Fury build, you still get caught by the Destroyer. You can still do so much damage on you. So
force tag happening right now. She did keep her distance. There
very good distance.
But he came. Oh, that was very close.
Wow, that was a very aggressive chase effort.
Wow.
But that might come back to him, as that was a very crucial mistake to go in so aggressively on the chase, but really just pays back on his head. With Li Xiang dying right away with that offensive interfere, coming with the Force Master. And that was a huge play for the side of Basilisk time.
Yeah, he definitely got punished for that with the Assassin interfering in with the offensive interfere, just knocking him out like instantly. And now the Force Master on the Chinese team side cannot interfere in because he has no more, no more interfere points. And even if he tags in, he has so little health right now. It's not looking good at all for the Chinese team.
And this is definitely the punishment of being so aggressive in your playstyle, is that you can take such a big punishment in a risk like this. And Li Xiang, he thought he had the chase, although we really thought that distance was safe enough for, the Japanese side, Basilisk time, to be safe on that force tag. But the Chinese team, Taurus, went in aggressively and really paid the biggest price, taking the KO there.
Of dying.
Yeah, literally.
That is literally the biggest price. You died. But anyways, the summoner is out now. Oh, Rumblebee doing some damage. Yeah, there's still hope for the Chinese team if this summoner is able to, force the Japanese team waste some tag points because they have so many resource points right now.
And by the way, Wan Chini on the summoner, she was the second female participant in World 2017 in history, so she gets her mark for that. Next to Nanako.
There we go!
That's a lot of damage coming from the Force Master, along with the summoner. So much damage on to Takumi, but somehow survives and tags out to Yutaka. and that barely is a survival right now for
Yeah.
Basilisk time. That was huge.
That was huge, and the assassin is out trying to do some work. And the Force Master healed up a lot. Remember I said he had so little health, probably like 45% health.
Yeah.
But he almost has 30% health right now, and they both have their tag points. Even though they don't have any interfere points on the on tourist side, the Chinese team, they can still tag out twice, back and forth if they're in danger.
So Wan Shini comes back out with the summoner, and she's up against Yutaka on the assassin.
Ooh, good knockdown. There we go,
Summoner
Rumblebee.
doing work though. So much damage.
Yeah, so much damage by the Rumblebee. You can't ignore that damage.
The assassin.
So
We
this
saw in the Series 1 with the two Taiwanese teams, when we saw this particular matchup, the assassin used his ability to get over the summoner, but this time around, Wan Shini really knows what to do against the lack of mobility that she has. Doing very well against the assassin for now.
Yep, 1 more minute until each team gets 1 interfere points back at the 3-minute mark. And
Bombard onto the stun, yeah.
and she does use her tag escape, and she decides to tag out. The Force Master is in. He still also has a tag point, so he will be able to tag out when he is in danger.
Yes, that Wen Shang does come back out on the Force Master when you talk about Swishy. Still on the assassin doing work, buying a lot of time for his team.
Yep, there we go. 10 seconds until the assassin is
Oh,
first.
the wallbang is happening, but
Oh.
just coming on the interfere defensive one, but really
No
taking
freeze,
the
no freeze, come on. The Force Master.
Yutaka trying to web him into the air.
Ooh,
Force
force tag down. All right, that was good. Webbed him and then
Yeah.
waited for that force tag. Very
Good
well
distance,
played.
yeah, very safe zone, but the Warlock putting in a
Oh!
lot of damage now. Nanako
Tag
has been
escapes
doing
out.
very well throughout this entire tag match, and she's continuing on with that. Putting some damage onto the Chinese team, and I think Taurus, having won the first 2 games of this single, I think they're very surprised about how this tag match is going, because Japanese side, Basilisk time, with knocking out Li Xiang. The first few moments is very much on the favorable, and that's going to be a second man out. Wan Shang is going to be knocked out for the second man, knocked out for Taurus, and Wan Shini is the last person out, and she somehow has to survive. It's a summoner 1v3 situation, but very difficult to do so unless you get the opportunity, but
She's doing some damage though. The cat is doing work, forcing that Force Master on the Japanese side to tag out.
now Yutaka Masuichi is back out onto the field to bombard into the poison breath and deal a lot of damage.
Double knockdown was very good on the assassin's part. Will the summoner be able to do some more? Oh, okay.
Poison breath is good enough to finish up the summoner, and there you see the little kid being knocked off, and Basilisk time save their tournament
Yeah.
by getting 2-2 even, going on to game 4 now to finish us off. But Taurus, perhaps they got a little bit complacent after those first 2 wins. Sort of let down after Li Xiang had to dive in so aggressively for that chase.
Yeah.
It was a long distance to walk with, but really paid the price by dying out very early in this match, and really cost them the entire game, losing out in the end.
Yeah, and I also want to mention after the Destroyer died, and when the Force Master was about to die, when he had to escape out and he had that split moment where he could have decided to tag out, because remember I mentioned that he did have he was the only one with the tag point left on the Chinese team side at that moment, and he was out of both escapes, and you know it was inevitable that he was gonna get landed by ACC.
Yeah.
But he decided not to tag out, which made him die in the end. But he could have tagged out, let the Force Master come in, because there was only around 5 seconds left until they got interfere points back.
Right.
But he died right before that moment, and it was very sad to see that he let that chance slip by.
Yeah, but I think very similar
now.
to the Taiwan teams, we see Chinese teams as well, very aggressive in their playstyle,
Oh, yeah.
and sometimes that can get you 2 wins in singles, but that can really cost you an early death
Oh yeah.
in the tag matches. So very different playstyle depending on the cultures these players really have within their own regions. But so the Chinese teams and the Taiwan teams, both very aggressive playstyle, but sometimes they work and sometimes they turn out like this.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll have to. This is best out of 4, so when this tournament becomes the best out of 7, we'll get a better idea of what they planned for their strategy. They could play some aggressive. Like you've seen the Korean tournaments in the wild cards. We saw the same team in the third match plays super passive, and in the 6th and the 7th they play super aggressive. So they do have the chance or the time to strategize and change their playstyle. But right now, it is the best out of 4, and this is the last matchup.
And Yutaka Masabushi is back out again with Zhang Wensheng. A rematch from game 1.
Yeah.
They're going to face it up once again when Zhang Wensheng got the win first time around when they met. Now Yutaka Masabushi really wants the revenge here with the Asani. He played very well throughout game 3 with the tag match, helping out his teammates. But he has to do it again against Zhang Wensheng. First time he didn't get the job done. This time he has to really calculate that aggressiveness that the Chinese team can pull out and use a little bit of defensive stance to counter that in the best efforts. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, we'll have to see if this Force Master will be able to knock this assassin out again and, you know, follow in the footsteps of Yun Jung-ho as the assassin killer on the Force Master.
But we're going to go on to game 4, the last set between these two sides. Basilisk Time and Taurus currently 2-2. The winner of this one will take the series. Let's see how this match turns out. Let's get it on. These two teams have fought hard really through the singles and also to the tag to get this back to even at 2-2 now. Basilisk Time sending out Yutaka Matsubuchi, the assassin, to hopefully finish things off. But it is again to Zhang Wensheng on the Force Master, who he has lost in game 1.
He straight away uses his Lotus of Escape right away, the assassin, so he is down 1 escape. And he's up in the air. Prosperous. There we go. The assassin makes his move.
There we go. Onto the aerial, into the webbing. The landmine is being planted to be popped right away. The poison breath goes first before he pops it.
He doesn't get the back roll chase. He had that landmine set up perfectly for that back roll chase, but I guess this is definitely the ping difference. He procced it too early. Way too early.
And this is the latency difference that we see in the offline tournament. I'm sure they have it in their own regions as well, but we've been hearing that different regions do have different pings, and it's really affecting their timing of when to use these skills. But Yutaka Matsubushi, as Ending does mention, procs that landmine a little bit too early. Get that effect going right away.
Yep, and the stealth was used in between that time, and it's good that the assassin is staggering his escapes. He still put down the... Oh no, he used it now. He is out of escape for the next 15 seconds.
This is looking very bad for Yutaka Masabuchi, because out of both escapes, really taking no damage onto his opponent.
It is basically over.
This might be over with enough damage hopefully coming. The second land will come. The second aerial is good enough to finish him off, and Taurus, in the end, do pick up every single match to win the entire series of 3-2, but Takamatsubuchi in the end could not find an answer against the Force Master Zhang Wensheng. So altogether, you can win the tag, but you can lose all the singles and still lose out the series.
Yeah, so basically best out of 4. If you win all the singles, you'll win. But in the best out of 7, if you win all the singles, you still can't win.
That's true.
So it switches around. That's why I said it'll be more interesting when we turn it into the best out of 7. But I hope the replay shows that, the back roll chase missing. Okay, they just skipped it. But anyways, it seemed like Takumi was very disappointed that he missed that chase when that camera showed his face, because it was set up perfectly, and I was waiting to call it, but unfortunately it did not connect.
So the ping difference was the big factor, as he could have put in so much damage. But in the end, Taurus takes game 2 with this second series that we saw in Worlds 2017, and China will pick up that second series of points against the Japanese team of Basilisk Time. Gonna go to a short break, and after that we will be back with match 3 of Worlds 2017, so stay tuned with us, and we'll be right back.
can hear your voices calling me from a distant place, but I don't know what to do. Heed the call. Do I play it safe and stay behind, knowing what I face? Please tell me what to do. Heed the call. Rise above it all. You must fly into the fire. Whoa, here I am, running towards my final destiny. Though it may seem too much to bear, standing tall, even though the weight is crushing me. I will not stop until I'm there. Now the only thing that I regret after looking back is that I waited so long. But I know with all my beating heart, I'm on the right track. Wish I knew it all along. Heed the call. Rise above it all. You must fly into the fire. Whoa, here I am, running towards my final destiny. Though it may seem too much to bear, standing tall, even though the weight is crushing me. I will not stop until I'm there. Heed the call. Whoa, heed the call. Heed the call.
And we're back.
Okay,
with
we're back.
Another action. Hopefully you heard my voice there. I didn't hear myself there, but welcome back everyone to blade&soul World 2017. We're back with match 3. We're gonna get to the losers matches before we move on to Group B. We're gonna get the two losers, basically.
Team Thank You versus
Basilisk
Time. Yep.
So we're gonna get a little bit of Taiwan representation along with the Japanese representation to face off in Game 3 of our day. So. We saw two matches so far. We saw the Taiwanese mirror that they're very familiar with each other probably, but we saw the Japanese versus the Chinese team. Definitely saw the difference in the play styles of what they bring to the table with the, regardless of the meta, they just really play their own style. What did you see the difference between those two regions?
Well, like, you know, some regions may have the offensive or the aggressive plays, and some may have the calculative, you know, the passive aggressive or the passive play style. But regardless, today is the first day, and this is the losers match. So if you lose from the losers match, it basically means on the first day you place last in your group, and you don't want to do that. And you know, Taiwan versus Japan, neither of the teams would want to place last, so they have to give it all. Regardless of what playstyle they have to adapt right on the spot to beat the opponent to not place last.
And as you were speaking of the Korean teams really adjusting their playstyle depending on different situations, they sometimes go a little bit early with defensive and more calculative style in the beginning parts of the series, but once they get to the later 6 and Game 7s, they just go hyper aggressive like we saw from the Chinese and the Taiwanese team. So you have to be a little bit adjusting when it comes to Blade and Soul, because depending on how many matches you are facing in the series, you can really make those adjustments for the favor for your team. So Japan versus really Taiwan is going to be the next match up, and we saw Japan being a little bit more passive and trying to take their time to see their opportunities through, whereas definitely Taiwan is very similar to China, where they go really hyper aggressive from the get-go and really stay that way until the very end of the game. So we'll see how those two differences really play a match at this time.
Yeah, and the reason I mentioned about the adapting to the opponent's playstyle is because I'm pretty sure these teams, Bachelor's Time and Thank You, they saw each other's plays in the waiting room for the the players' waiting room. They have a TV, broadcasting this that you guys are seeing right now. So I'm pretty sure they were thinking, this team plays this way, so we'll have to adjust, to play against them like this. So I hope they prepared in that short time, came up with a good strategy to go up against each other.
And it's a very interesting thing that we always have to talk about with these two teams, is that Bachelor's Time, where we saw Nanako Takahashi being the first female player to ever play in World 2017. We like to mention that again. She did make the history of that, but she did lose out on the actual series, but she would like to actually get a win for her team this time around. But like I said, you didn't come all the way to Korea to play in World 2017 to become last place in your group. So nobody really wants that. So both teams really wanting to win right here.
Yeah, and being able to adapt and change your team's playstyle, not just yours, but your whole team's playstyle, it comes from experience. And now, in this losers match, even though it is a losers match, they already know each other's plays. They've seen the first games of their opponents. So now this match, the winner and the loser, it will determine which team has a little more experience or who is more team composed to see, they'll be able to win. The team with more team play, the teamwork, and the experience will definitely win out this last set of this Group A.
And you see right here, what they had to do to get here was they lost to Pengandi 3-1 in the end after winning one single and losing out in that tag match. That was a difference between those two Taiwanese teams, and now we see Thank You on this losers bracket having to go up against Bachelor's Time from Japan. And regardless of what the results may be, they are the top teams from their respective regions. And Bachelor's Time, one of the top teams from Japan, also with Thank You being one of the top teams in Taiwan as well. It's going to be very sure thing that they have a lot of confidence coming in, but it has to lead to the actual results. And we're going to see Nanako Takahashi on the Warlock. She comes out on many of the singles, and I think the team has a lot of confidence in her that she will produce the goods. And really sending her out once again, this time against the Summoner. It's going to be on the other side of the team.
Woo and Bin on the Summoner. He also came out for the singles in the first matchup versus Thank You versus Pengandi. So we'll have to see the two players from each region, coming out in singles over and over again to produce the goods. And the music has changed, and we are ready for our first set. Let's get it on.
Here we go for game one of this losers match between Bachelor's Time and Thank You 9527. See Nanako.
It's funny when you say the long number.
It is?
Sounds like a phone number.
Hey, I want to ask them later on what that really, the intention of those numbers mean. I'm sure they have a meaning behind 9527, but it's very random. Probably what I would highly doubt. Either way, the Warlock versus Summoner is our first matchup, but Nanako getting the beating from Woo Bin. On the Summoner, like we said, Summoner requires opportunities to put in damage, and playing Woo Bin got the damage there, so.
Yep, there we go. the summoner is playing very aggressive right now. He is forcing Nanako to back off. She already used the body swap, and she's now, fighting with the cat, but it's not,
man.
Keep your distance, Nanako. Now she finally used her tab escape too. Now she's out of all of her escapes.
So Nanako Takahashi, very dangerous situation now against Wu Yanbin because there's so much damage that can be done from the summoner and the cat, but very easy one. Going for the Taiwanese side, and they pick up that first point in this best of 4. Going into game 2, Nanako seems very confused to say the least. She doesn't seem to be angry, but trying to figure out her emotions every time you say it.
She's not angry. I'm pretty sure she's not angry. That face is not the angry face.
I don't know. I don't know her too well to really read her emotions in her face.
It just seems as if, the familiar, the thrall versus the cat. The cat may be stronger, Don't get fooled by the size.
And Wu Yanbin really made things work from the beginning of the game. Look at that, putting out so much damage in the first 30 seconds of the game. Only having to use the time distortion to get the summoners back. But just everything about this is really the difference maker between those two sides. Because like you said, the familiars coming from the Warlock and also the cat, also assisting you from the summoner. You have to really be able to control these two matters very well to make it work, but it seems like Wu Yanbin did the better part of that this time around.
Yeah, exactly. And as a Warlock, she when she had the familiar out, or the thrall is out, she should have focused on the summoner itself. But unfortunately, she was unable to do that because she was so busy dodging all that sunflower, so she didn't want to take the damage. So basically, the summoner played super aggressive, and Nanako tried to go as aggressive as the summoner, but it did not play on her side, and now we are getting ready for the second matchup.
The second match brings out Chao Xiaoye that we haven't seen throughout the singles in the last series. We only saw him in the tag and a very glimpse of what he can do, but he's back out. Xiaoye is going to be the second man out for Team Thank You, and Basilisk time decides to bring out, I believe, Yutaka Matsubushi on the Assassin. Gonna be the one next out. So Yutaka, we've seen many of him, and we've seen him throughout the tags and also the singles. He did pretty well, but they can continue on with this. We're gonna find out in game 2 whether it's Basilisk time picking up a 1 point to make it even, or whether it's gonna be Thank You getting out that 2-0 victory, going towards the next phase. We're gonna have to find out. Let's stay on. The second match between Basilisk Time and Thank You does begin with currently Thank You 9527 leading out 1-0. Let's see, Yahweh. Yep. It's gonna be holding up the Blade Master against Yutaka's Assassin.
Yeah, let's hope that Yutaka got used to the ping and he does not miss the back row chases this time around, because he is the one that almost had the victory against the Chinese team if he landed that.
Woo! And really, Yahweh doesn't use the tab escape for now, but taking a lot of damage. Now he uses it, but already having taken 70% of damage before he does. Blade Master.
Well, he's seen the Korean players play. He's trying to take out as many CCs as possible, but he did take,
so
a lot of damage. But now he's making his move. All right, there we go.
Now remember, Yutaka still has his stealth available, so he can still get out of a very dangerous situation, which he should now. Yes, he does.
There we go. He is blinded.
Yeah, man, the stun does come up. 5 seconds. Will it be enough to finish him off?
It is over.
The webbing is going to be down. He does have the second win now. No. Will it be enough time to go for it?
There we go.
Does use it, yes.
But he dodges that tab knockback, the second win knockback. So it's very good for the Assassin, because if he got knocked back, he would have been dead.
Another stun will be. The Assassin putting up, but it's going to be the Blade Master, Yahweh, picking out the second win. And now it is 2-0. Very pitiful of Yutaka to not be able to finish that off. He was very, very close near the end of the game.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but I don't know if they are communicating, even though in singles, usually at that moment when Yutaka had him webbed up, there was still around 3 seconds left until that tab escape came back. But Yutaka probably thought that the tab escape already came back for that miscalculation of few seconds. If he knew that there was still 3 seconds, he would have had the win, putting him down from the web and just you know, doing the damage, because there was only like 5 to 10% left on that Blade Master's health when he was webbed. But unfortunately, Yutaka backed off, you know, being afraid that his second wind was back. And it's very unfortunate for Yutaka.
But on the other end, you know, Yahweh did a very good job of sticking to the very end. Yeah, right there, you actually mentioned 3, 2, 1 is what we got with that timer. We know it definitely when we saw this, we see the screen, but very difficult for the player to calculate every single second of that, a 35-second or so of cooldown. But really, Yahweh really stuck to the end and had the counter punch to finish him off, and suddenly they are 2-0 up now. Basilisk time in this very similar situation they had in the previous series where they were down 2-0. They had to win out the tag to get us into game 4. Hopefully they can do it again to see how they will really face. But if they do lose out in game 3 coming up, they will be the last match of Group A. They will turn out in the last place, but they really don't want that.
Yeah, and you know, let's hope that they are able to win this tag like they did last time, and you know, stay in the tournament and go for that last, you know, 4th matchup. And here we go with the matchups again. We have the Assassin, Force Master, and Warlock on the Japanese side, Destroyer, Blade Master, and the Summoner on the Taiwan side.
And definitely composition-wise, a little more common towards the Taiwanese side, having that little bit of stability with the Destroyer, being able to kind of support your teammates with the Summoner and all that. But just everything about the Taiwanese team just seems more stable than a very unconventional meta that Japanese team are playing with Basilisk time. They have the Assassin and the Force Master and the Warlock, and it's a little bit less common in terms of composition of what they can synergize together, but we'll have to see how they do.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm pretty sure they've practiced with this composition, which is why they are coming out with these compositions. And like you said, Joel, let's get on with this tag match, see how they work against each other and work together. Let's get it on.
Here we go for game 3, which could end it all for Basilisk time if they cannot pick out a win here. And Yan Bin of the Summoner has been on work the entire. There we go for the Super Sky again.
Oh, the bombard damage. The early damage that Yutaka is putting out is very good. He has to continue that, keep that momentum. But it seems as if he gets a little shaky from mid to late game. He has to keep that calm until the end.
Despite the early damage, the Summoner has enough heals to heal himself right back up to full health. Now Yutaka taking the damage from the interfere coming in. The reaction 2v2 did happen that time around.
Yeah, and the time distortion giving Yutaka all of his escapes back. Very good. Now he has to make his move, force that at least another interfere or a tag out by the Taiwanese team.
And really, Yutaka, like you mentioned, he's always had the early damage, which he does now once again. But it's all about the consistent damage that he has to continue out with. But Cat constantly bothering him, really avoiding him from doing any type of work.
Yep, and the tab escape is already out, almost back already.
10 seconds,
even though he got it back from the time distortion, he used it once again. Now 7 seconds until it gets back. Oh, a lot of damage. There we go, forcing out that defensive interfere. Reactionary 2v2.
Yutaka taking a lot of damage from that reactionary 2v2, but it's gonna be actually thank you using that first attack point of the match and brings that Dongshuan on the Destroyer.
Yep. Ooh, the smash lands. Yutaka, 10 seconds left. Will he be able to endure? Yes, he will. He has his stealth left. 5 more seconds.
But doesn't land, but now he needs to keep a safe distance for the tag in. He does. It's very, very close right now. Now he tries to pull him in. The chase doesn't happen, so very good of him. Nanako does come back out once again. She's trying to look for the retaliation for basically the entire day where, you know, she put up some good efforts, but the result-wise was never to her favor. So trying to get a win this time around will be important for her, but
she definitely wants to prove herself because, you know, all the singles she came out, unfortunately, like you said, Joel, it did not play on her to her side. There we go with the aerial, doing a lot of damage to that Destroyer.
Finally,
but she is taking so much damage as well.
We thought Nanako was doing a lot of damage for the first time, but she takes an equal amount of damage on her side. Now the Blade Master is back out. Yahweh dealing damage as soon as he comes in. What's up with all these Super Sky moments from the observing side? We have to ask some questions after the game, but...
Yeah, but I think there's Hancock. He's like flying up and down.
Maybe. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. When it happens 3 times.
Yeah. The Force Master is in the air, but you know, it's not too much for him because he has all of his escapes.
There you go.
There we go. Got some health back, actually.
Yahweh. Maybe not familiar with the Force Master. He just constantly attacks the frozen state of the Force Master, giving all that health back. So it's going to be saying a lot of thank you from the Basilisk time.
All right, there we go. Forcing out that defensive interference. Buying time, freezing himself.
Very good.
Oh, but he gets smashed.
Last 1 second was good enough to put a lot of damage from the Destroyer.
All right, reaction on 2v2.
The reaction 2v2 coming in. Really nothing significant happening. Just countering each other's plays, but now it's going to be the Blade Master trying to put in some damage now. Putting into the second aerial, trying to put in that damage onto him, but defensive interfere comes in, negates a little bit of the damage, but most of the part, the Blade Master did a pretty good job and now forces the second tag point out of Basilisk time, and now Nanako is back out onto the field. Oh, now the Blade Master going to work! So much damage onto the Warlock with that Dragon Tongue, but now it's going to be the Warlock Nanako putting in damage onto the aerial for Uyambin as soon as he comes in. Nanako has to be careful though. Time Distortion, but still loses so much health. Having to use that second wind right away after that Time Distortion. So, Nanako has 1 tag point available. She has to use it sometime or not, because 25 seconds.
She may have to use it very soon. Don't be too. Yeah, there we go. She uses a very good choice.
Would have been very greedy if she stuck with it.
All right, Yutaka, the one with 2 tag point is out of the field. This is a good choice on the Japanese side.
Yep, Yutaka is going to be looking very poised for what he has to do. He has to stay out on the field as long as he can, but at the same time has to do a lot of damage because on the side of Basilisk time, very low HP bars throughout the series, but
you gotta remember, Thank You does have that Summoner healing up, as well as the Destroyer heals up as, you know, pretty much.
If it does go to the TKO, that will be the difference maker. We can hope for that.
And he puts down the mine next to the cat. The cat is knocked down, but you know, usually you want to get the double knockdown.
Right.
You know, when you're going up against a summoner, but he's getting hit one by one by that.
This Uyambin is doing so much work, knowing exactly what to do in every situation. Now heals himself back up almost to full health. There's nothing that Yutaka can do to really knock out the summoner, if not try to at least force that attack, but really nothing is happening for this guy.
Yeah, he is trying his best to do as much damage as possible. 10 more seconds until Yambin is tagged out.
I don't know, just for after this match, I feel like GC Busan Blue, Yunjajong is going to be looking back on the summoner and say, I should play this, guys. Can you get me back on the summoner?
Yeah.
So strong right now, though, just throughout today's day 1. Summoners really making a statement for themselves.
All right, Takumi using his tab escape and getting a lot of health back.
Very good.
But, you know, there's still 4 minutes left, so, you know, getting health back is okay because, you know, you have to do as much damage as possible right now, because if there was only maybe like 1 minute left, then you know you want to do as much damage output. But here, right now, when there's still 4 minutes, you want to get your health back. You know, keep it stable for now.
And it is the Force Master's healing versus the Summoner's healing, with a little bit of that from the Destroyer. But all in all, the healing has to be used with caution.
All right.
Thinking about if it does go to the TKO, of how will it affect the game.
All right, Force Master getting dragged in. Tab escape the knockback. The Daze lands.
Oh,
Reaction
goes up into the air. Whether they can do some damage, no, it doesn't happen right now. Kind of a pity of you know, putting into the air, but really that defensive interfere coming in from the side of Thank You, doing all the work of keeping it, really negating all that damage coming from him.
All right, the Force Master does not have his escape.
Wow, Yahweh doing so much damage on the Blade Master. Probably one of the best Blade Masters showing we've seen in a very long time.
Oh, the back roll chase actually worked with the flock of blades.
Oh, and Takumi's in a very dangerous situation now. It's going to be the first man knocked out, and Nanako is out onto the field, but it's a very dangerous situation unless Nanako gets some damage on. But right now, Yahweh looking very safe and looking very composed in every moment of this game so far.
Yeah, Yahweh, the back roll chase into the flock of blades, knockback to the Dragon Tongue finish was beautiful.
Yeah.
beautifully done. And now Nanako definitely has to get revenge for her teammate's death.
She has no tag point though. She has to somehow stay alive for the next 1 minute and 12 seconds. It's a timer on the force tag, but Yahweh is not going to allow any time towards Nanako to save that space. But Assassin Yutaka, Yutaka tried to come in with that bombard, trying to save his teammate Nanako, but
the tether blade lands. The
we are in. It's gonna be knocked out, and the Summoners suddenly is knocked off from that tag. As soon as Weambin was tagged in, Nanako finds that space to get him into the air with enough damage to finish him off. But Nanako has to be careful with this destroyer.
Oh, she's taking damage, and she is about to get knocked
out.
out.
And that will be enough damage to knock the second person out. And Nanako will be the second person from Basilisk Time. He knocked out, and now it's Yutaka on the Assassin. Pulling off a 1v2 is what he has to accomplish. Or else it's going to just be a 4-0 loss for these guys, but they don't really want that.
All right, this time around, the Interfere gets knocked down by the landmine that Yutaka put down. Very good use of the mine. I'm pretty sure he wanted that double knockdown, but unfortunately the Destroyer was spinning.
Yep. Yutaka goes up in the air now. Dong Xuan, just everything that he does on the Destroyer seems to be working. Landmine doesn't connect. Close.
But he does get his stealth back. He is making his move now.
He has to, because the Iron Fortress does come up for the Destroyer, but otherwise Yutaka has to go in aggressively. There's no other option for him. Even Yahweh on the Blade Master has to interfere if he does choose to use it. Otherwise, Yutaka, be careful. There you go. Yahweh uses that last interfere point, which he now gets back with that 1 minute mark. So a timely use of that interfere coming in from Yahweh.
All right, he is trying. Yutaka is trying his best, but he is out of stealth and he doesn't want to use that, but he has to use that last escape.
Yutaka,
one more CC.
Very
he might
dangerous situation. Maybe he has to go for it all here, but it's going to be a very dangerous situation where Dong Xuan on the Destroyer can knock you off in an instant, and that will be it for Basilisk Time. Getting no wins in Group A. We'll head on to that last spot in the group.
Yeah, very unfortunate. One team has to be the last team.
It's true.
It's very unfortunate, but that's how a tournament is. And
she still looks not.
She actually looks more happier than before.
She doesn't look unhappy. That's the correct term here.
Yeah, more happier. I said more happier. But anyway, she definitely doesn't look angry. At least.
I know.
Yeah. But anyways, congrats thank you for not being last.
And
Basilisk Time, I hope they practice more within the days that more days to come.
Yep.
They're not knocked out so I hope they get practice with maybe they can't do new composition because they did not register, but work on their teamwork on how to use their tag points and interfere points to save or to help out in the aggressive way in the tag matches, because I've noticed that they do come in for the reactionaries and the offensive interferes, but there was this one time they could not capitalize when there was one opponent in the air and it was a reactionary 2v2, and they got they kind of got confused on which class to focus on, and they ended up just wasting the opportunity they created. So they created an opportunity and then they just wasted it. So it was very unfortunate watching that play.
And just analyzing the opponents that Basilisk Time had to face up, it was against the Chinese and Taiwanese, very aggressive sides. But without that Destroyer or any kind of stability in their composition, it didn't work out this time around. So today's result does go for that 2 loss for Basilisk Time. You see Nanako packing her stuff, but I'm sure they'll be back the next time they do face up, and we'll be back after a short break. We're going to go to Group B and to see how they do in the upcoming matches. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. So stay tuned with us.
The only thing that I regret after looking back is that I waited so long. But I know with all my beating heart, I'm on the right track. Wish I knew it all along. Heed the call, rise above it all. You must fly into the fire. Whoa, here I am, running towards my final destiny. Though it may seem too much to bear, standing tall, even though the weight is crushing me. I will not stop until I'm there. Heed the call. Heed the call. Heed the call.
And we are back with Worlds 2017. We're trying to bring the Blade and Soul action to you guys. Coming in from day one, we saw the East Asian teams coming in from Japan and China. Really bring out the action to it. But we're going to move a little bit away from the East Asia and go over to match 4, which is going to feature a little bit of Southeast Asian, also a little bit from Europe for the first time ever.
Yes.
We're going to get the chosen one from Vietnam versus XDDD.
No,
from Europe.
not
Can we just call him XD? I don't know if they don't
XD.
mind.
All right, let's just go with X quadruple. No, that's too low. But anyways, yes, you guys know who they are. And yes, the next matchup is the chosen one from Vietnam and XDDD from Europe. And it's going to be very interesting because, you know, to be honest, Vietnam actually got into this Blade and Soul action pretty late compared to many of the other regions that are participating in this tournament right now. And, you know, Europe, I've seen their regionals. I actually, to be honest, didn't get to catch the Vietnamese regionals, but Europe's regionals was pretty high quality, high level.
Definitely,
so I want to see if Europe is going to stomp on Vietnam, or if Vietnam practiced enough to not get stomped or maybe even have a chance against Europe.
And you know, the XT, they were a team that really had to beat out one of the favorites from Europe with Ugly Intentions, being one of the favorites with Cymex on the team, trying to carry his team to at least second place from Europe. But with Bad Intentions, they thought they were going to be there, but XD, they had to beat out Ugly Intention, which they did to get here in Korea. Now they are the second seed representative from Europe. We're going to get to first introduce the chosen one from Vietnam. Got these three players here with Assassin, Blade Master, and also an Assassin for the second player, and also the Summoner coming for that third player as well. So Vietnam, very new to this scene, and they have high hopes as the only seed from Vietnam, but they're really going to try their best efforts to bring out a win against XD. But the Western representation is a first in Blade and Soul in the World Championship, and here we are. Get to finally introduce the European teams for the very first time. You guys know these guys by their aliases, their usernames.
Well, nope. We have Anton, Bill, and Albin. That's what we'll call them.
But
we won't call them Zappish, Aries, and Brother Bill.
But you know, you see these guys. We'll try to refer to them as the familiar names you guys know, but it is Bill Ras, Brother Bill, coming in with the usual Blade dancer, Anton Nilsson. We know him very well as Zappish, the Master KFM of Europe, and Alvin Bjork coming with that Warlock, known by Aries. And these guys, very well known in Europe and very much a surprise to be here because they were expected to be brought down by Ugly Intentions, as I mentioned earlier, but they had the courage and they had the will to really go above that team to be along with Bad Intentions to make it to Korea today. And wow, you know, fine and proud, they are finally here and they're gonna be their first match of this World 2017 and see how they do.
Ooh, alright, so we have an assassin versus a blade dancer. I am very excited to see this matchup because, to be honest, I've seen, you know, Brother Bill stream a couple times, and you know, he is up there. His skill level is up there, and you know, I'm pretty sure he probably scrimmed against, you know, the foreign teams, but when he is at home, he doesn't get to scrim against, you know, Vietnamese players.
Yep.
So, you know, on this stage right now, live, you know, I wonder how he feels, if he's nervous or if he's ready, because, you know, I know the way he plays, I know the skill level that he is at.
Definitely.
So, you know, we'll have to see if he's able to bring out all his, you know, skills to go up against this Vietnamese assassin.
And really, this is probably my personal most excitement coming into the World 2017 so far with Europe. We'll see how they do against the opponents that aren't European and against the teams that aren't NA and all the Western. But first game will tell us whether Brother Bill, really contrary to his fame that he has over in Europe, whether he can really make things work against the side of the assassin coming from the Vietnamese side. But Brother Bill, a lot of expectation for this guy because he's considered to be the leader of this side of XD, and just everything about him really sets an example for the rest of his teammates, and maybe his result here will set a good example for the rest of the series to come.
Yeah, and regardless of, you know, who might be better or who might have more experience, I hope nobody underestimates their opponents, because, you know, when the moment that you underestimate your opponent, regardless of how skillful you are, you still give out that opening, and, you know, the lesser experienced opponent might beat you. So I hope, you know, he keeps his calm, he keeps his cool, and, you know, do not underestimate your opponent at any cost.
And really just Brother Bill and the rest of the side of XD, they're really not going to underestimate their opponents, which I'm thinking because they've really worked hard to get here and they're not going to just let it down due to complacency. Yeah. And really just going to work their best of efforts to really get the best results they can in this World 2017. But, you know,
it seems like there is a little bit of difficulty. And this usually happens because, you know, every single player has their own settings for the game, and they bring their gear, and, you know, every time you plug in new gear and you have to set up your sensitivity and blah blah blah. So it takes time, and sometimes it causes, you know, technical difficulties, and this is probably what's going on right now.
So it seems like
bear with us.
Little malfunction from the side of Pham Hall, and he's just trying to adjust his chair and also adjust a little bit of parts of his computer to make things perfect for the environment that he's about to get into. It's gonna be really interesting really how this goes, because see these guys right now, Zappish, Aries, and Brother Bill, they look very, very excited for this match that is about to unfold. And Brother Bill saying that first example, you see the smile on his face. He's feeling very happy about being here at all, and just like me personally, I said this since the wildcards and since the days before. I really want the European teams and also the NA teams to do very well, and because it really should set an example for other people around that region, in the rest of the regions, to really get their hands on Blade and Soul and really try it for themselves. That this game is not really about Korean domination anymore. It can be other regions making an effort to put up a say to see, you know, they can really counter whatever they can really do for that. But seems like the malfunction is continuing. I think we're coming back to us. There we go.
We're back.
We're back to us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I'm glad that this malfunction or this technical difficulty happens before the matchup, the whole set starts, because if that happens in the middle, it cuts off the team's momentum, regardless of who won the first match or who won the last match. It may, you know, get their adrenaline rush to run out, you know, that, and you don't want that to happen. So I'd rather have this in the beginning before the match starts.
If you're gonna have the problem, let's get it out of the way.
Yeah.
to begin
Just have
with.
all the problems right now and just fix up everything so, everybody is good to go. And then we can start, and it sounds like we're ready.
I think the music has changed. We're going to get the game 1 underway. We're moving away from East Asia and going over to Southeast Asia with the chosen one from Vietnam, going up against XDDD from Europe to see how they do. Let's get it on. A very exciting announcement of Europe player making their first mark in this Worlds 2017. Brother Bill will be up against Pham Ho Ha, the assassin representing Vietnam in the chosen one.
All right, there we go. Brother Bill, Phantom grips him, making that offensive move right there into the area with the ascent, re-knock up. Okay, the tab escape is used, or the stealth is used by the assassin.
Pham Ho Ha, not really being able to put up so much damage with Brother Bill, really controlling the play for the early parts of the game. Pham Ho Ha having to use a stealth already, tries to look for counter hit, but another stun coming in from Brother Bill into the arrow. This might be the beginning of true damage. Coming in from the side, lightning draw is going to do a lot of damage, and you have to go back to the flower just to escape that play.
Yeah, and he still has 8 seconds left for that stealth to come back.
My
if
goodness.
he gets CC'd, it's a win for Brother Bill.
Brother Bill tries for the knockdown, doesn't happen this time around. He's going to go for another play. Moving forward, Brother Bill does get stunned up. Gets a little bit of damage coming in from Pham Ho Ha, and
he still gets to save his tab escape, so Brother Bill taking a little bit of damage, but he saves the his escape, so it's a plus.
And very much healthy as well throughout. And unless Pham Ho Ha starts a little bit of combo right here, which he does with the poison breath, with that stun, he still saves up the stun, Brother Bill, and he tries to keep that stun in the emergency situation. This is another.
And he does have his lightning draw.
Second aerial does come. A lightning draw is available. He's going to use now, and it's just not enough to finish him off immediately. Pham Ho Ha realizes the situation of the dangers that he's being put under, but still goes aggressively. Brother Bill probably didn't expect this coming. The bombard into the landmine does connect a little bit, so getting a little bit inch closer is Pham Ho Ha against Brother Bill, and really the body swap onto the bombard.
It's over.
And it is a first win for Europe, and it does go over to Brother Bill, setting a good example for the Western side to have their dominance in Worlds 2017, and it begins now. 1-0 up for XD, and it's going forward.
Yeah, very well played. The assassin, unfortunately for him, he was out of all of his escapes, and he still went super aggressive when he should be, trying to dodge, keep his distance as much as possible, stay in the fog maybe. But unfortunately, Brother Bill does not give him the chance to do so.
And just very well played out from the very early moments of the game. Brother Bill forces out that early stealth from Pham Ho Ha, and you don't have the stealth, just can't go in as aggressively with the assassin as you would otherwise. But see Brother Bill, 2 series of second aerials into the lightning draw deals so much damage, and by the end here, really nothing Pham Ho Ha could do, and just finishes him right there with the third series of aerial, and 1-0 up XD, and looking good so far.
Yeah, he does seem like, he's comfortable playing in this offline arena. And, I'm very happy, not only for Brother Bill, but for all the players who are participating here. I hope, they feel like, I know it's not home, but, I hope it's as close as home. I hope, all the chairs and the settings of the computers are, comfortable for them to play in.
Oh,
so,
sure, yeah.
There's no excuses, so we are getting ready for the second matchup, Summoner versus Warlock.
It's going to be Aries, Alban Bjork, coming in for the side of XD against Dokuki, coming in from the chosen one from Vietnam. Another summoner we see in Worlds 2007. That's already the third one that we see out of how many teams? 5 teams that we've been introduced to. 6 teams that we've been introduced to. That's already 3.
Yeah.
And so many more summoners that we see.
50% pick rate.
Oh my goodness.
We never get 50% pick rate on summoners in the Korean tournaments.
We saw more summoners than we saw destroyers. That's how much we're telling us right now.
And this is what Worlds is about.
Really
people from different regions have different metas, different play styles, different characters or classes they prefer. And this is what happens when many different regions come together, we see a 50% pick rate on summoners.
And bringing that variety is very important in this World 2017 because we get to see things that we don't typically see just by doing an year-long tournament runs after that, you know, in the Korean scene, seeing that same picks over and over again. But you know, really good to see all these variety that these players are bringing to Korea, and just World 2017 is already excitement with a flair. Heading into Game 2 now between Vietnam and Europe, and they didn't get the win this time around, but hopefully the second game could be a game for these guys. Dokkoki really trying to bring a win for them, getting back to 1-1, but we are going to jump straight onto Game 2 with the Warlock versus Summoner to decide who will pick up that next point game into Game 3. So let's get the match underway. Let's get it on. Here we go for Game 2 between the Chosen One and XD. We have Dokkoki on the Summoner going up against Ares.
Yeah, last time around when it was a Summoner versus Warlock, the Summoner's cat did a lot of work and the Summoner ended up winning. So we'll see what happens this time around.
You know, it's not the same situation for every class, and the player differences on their skill level plays a big part in that, but Albin, Ares doing a very good job of early damage. So much damage with that time distortion to boot. And there's just a lot of explosive that just came forth in an instant. And will it be over in the first 20 seconds or so? We haven't got a match that quick in a very long time.
Straightforward. And you know, you see his face, he's staring at Ares. He's like, what just happened?
So if you guys watched the earlier series of where the Summoner beat the Warlock 2 times in that same series, now you guys know Summoner does not automatically beat a Warlock. So don't go argue with your friends and make a start an argument that Summoner is stronger than a Warlock. You just show that Ares or Warlock did the job done.
Yep, exactly. And now XD is up 2 points.
Very comfortable.
Next, you know, the third match is going to be worth 4. I mean, not 4, what I'm saying. Worth 2. If they win this, they'll, you know, have a sweet 4-0 against this Vietnamese team, the Chosen One.
And really, the XD's really advantages and their strengths really came forth in their European qualifiers when they went against the Ugly Intentions. Their strengths were definitely in the tag matches, in addition to their singles, where their communication and their synergy between the 3 different players really worked out very well. Brother Bill really keeps that defensive effort strong and comes in for that interferes really when the team needs it, and that adds to so much power that the entire team at X Team produced. But you see Zappish for the first time as well, the KFM, the Master KFM they call him, back over in Europe. He's one of the top rated KFM in the region, so gonna get his first sighting of him, but it will be the Chosen One XD in this Game 3 tag match to potentially finish it off.
Yeah, and you know, I still want to give props to the Chosen One, the Vietnamese team, because they are probably one of the regions that are the furthest behind in patches. So, you know, I'm pretty sure this is a stacking of experience for them right now. That is why, you know, they don't seem to really get angry when they lose. You know, they're trying their best. They're trying to keep their focus because they know that their patches are the furthest back compared to other regions. So, you know, it's understandable, and you know, I commend them for coming to this tournament even knowing that they are behind.
But definitely the Vietnamese scene is completely not out of this yet, because just winning this tag match alone can get them right back to even a 2-2, which will lead us right on to Game 4 to finish us off. But the Vietnamese side, the Chosen One, should not lose their momentum and should not lose their confidence in this third match, because the European side, XD, has been showing a lot of strength in the first 2 singles. Let's see if it can really continue on with this tag match. We'll have to find out.
Yep, and you know, like I said before, I hope you know, after this tournament, Vietnam, regardless of what place they place as a team, they continue to play, and you know, sooner or later they're gonna have, you know, the even patches, and they'll be able to compete better. And the music has changed, and potentially the last match, the third set. Let's get it on.
Here we go for game 3 between the Chosen One and XDDDD. As Famo Hall, the assassin, who put up a good fight against Brother Bill, will be up against Aries this time. Aries put so much damage that we had to cut off the video short of how much damage that dealt. So whether they can do it again, we're gonna have to find out. But Famo Hall is starting off strong. That's so much damage, but it's gonna be a counter damage coming in from Aries.
With the early time distortion used with the Sanctum.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So
Another
much
aerial.
damage though coming in from that assassin, from that Warlock onto the assassin. Just seemed like an assassination damage. That's kind of what I wanted to say there.
Yep. All right. So 2 interferes has been used for the Chosen One already. Only one interfere for XD right now.
We still have Brother Bill standing still on the sidelines. But a good opportunity coming. There he is now. Puts it into the air. Very good combo from that Blade Dancer. Aerial into that. And that's going to be good enough to finish him off in the first minute. And Aries, along with Brother Bill's aerial, is so much damage that you can put out, and that's going to be the first man knocked up already for the Chosen One. That's going to be huge loss for them.
Yeah, the first person knocked out is an assassin with full resource points.
Full resources.
This is never a good sign for anything.
Oh, but looking good! But Warlock is going to be the second mana, and Aries is suddenly out in an instant, also with full resources. And now Anton, Zapish is out for the KFN. This is going back and forth. This might end in 2 minutes.
Oh gosh, but now Zapish, the KFM is doing work right now. The summoner took a lot of damage out of escapes. He might want to tag out and let the Blade Master come in.
Definitely, and Doko Key, he shouldn't have been staying in there. That was a greedy choice, and now the second man is knocked out. Now we have 3 men out in the first 2 minutes, and Vietnamese side, the Chosen, that was a silly error then to not tag out there.
Yeah, definitely a silly error that you should not make, because this is gonna cost you. Because look at all the resource points that the 3 dead people have.
The incredible Zapish on the KFM, making no mistakes of finishing off in an instant and bringing out the Blade Master, really doing nothing to him. And he's just going strong. The Dragon Tongue trying to do some damage onto him, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be Brother Bill coming right out. The chase does happen for the Blade Master. Gets him into the second aerial. And Anton on the interfere there, helping out Brother Bill there.
Yeah, the Blade Master is trying his best to stay alive, and he
saves the lightning draw now. My goodness.
Very unfortunate for all those players who died with almost full resources early on in the first 2 minutes.
I mean, the first one I kind of understand because it was damage that coming out of nowhere that we didn't expect. But the second situation where he could have tagged us so easily, having already taken out so much damage, along with being out of your all of your escapes, he had every reason in the world to tag out right away. But he stayed there for 7 extra seconds, which costed him the second death, and that could have made such a difference maker heading forward.
Yeah, and we were actually staring at that moment when, the Vietnamese player didn't tag out, and we were looking at him and we're like, we didn't want to say tag out because it was such an obvious time to tag out, but he didn't tag out and ended up dying, and that's when we called it.
I mean, see there, Aries and Brother Bill did a good job with Brother Bill knocking him into the air with a free damage coming from that Warlock. Did a good job of knocking out Famo Hall, but other than that, the summoner, Donkoki, had to, knock off the second opponent, which he did. So it was even at that point, but you saw there in that moment right there, he's taken so much damage and he had no escape. Why didn't he tag out?
We'll have to ask him.
You can ask him. You can ask him.
I don't. Okay. Well, anyways, so XD ends up doing a 4-0 sweep.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, very clean. Like I said before, for Vietnam's excuse, they are very behind. So I do commend them once again for coming to this tournament and not saying, hey, we're behind, we don't have a chance, let's not go. Some people may think that way, but they did come, and claps to them.
But European teams, they had a lot of expectation coming forward because they were one of the weaker matches. But we're gonna get a short break, and we'll be back to you guys after this break. So stay tuned.
Though it may seem too much to
Welcome back, everyone, to Blade and Soul World 17. We're going to be back once again with Western domination is happening because Europe took the first win of Worlds 2017. We're going to be back. This next match is going to feature actually NA doing their best part to hopefully replicate the results of Europe with XT picking out that win against the Vietnamese side. We're going to see this next match with a Japanese team versus NA team. But
you said replicate, and I don't know. I'm not taking the side of any region right now,
okay.
Not Japan or NA. But yes, I do hope that NA plays well because this is their first time competing in Worlds. However, Noonsang Fan Club has been in this World scene, and especially these three players when last year when singles and tags were separated, they all participated in singles and tag, so they have a lot of experience in this offline tournament and Worlds.
And this, this Noonsang Fan Club is very different side compared to Basilisk time we saw earlier in the stages because Basilisk time we saw them for the first time in their appearance into Worlds 2017. We haven't seen them in previous World Championships before, but these guys you see on the screen now, Noonsang Fan Club, they're very, very famous for their talents that they have. So now Guardian, we're gonna have these guys face them all, but very, very tough opponents that they're about to confront. So Tatsuki Mizuno having 3 classes with Satoshi Sekimoto, the superstar, on that Blade Dancer with Koichi Hirota on the Destroyer. But these guys, Japan first is what you see indicated here. They have been dominating forces in their region for a very long time now, and see them to really bring that dominance over to World 2017 to see if they can do the same against other opponent regions from the different regions. You see the cat little...
Yeah, it's Tatsuki Mizuno. I actually wanted to mention that every year he draws the cat muskers and wears the cat ears every time he comes here. And
he's not even a summoner though.
He is.
Oh, he is a summoner.
He's the main summoner. He only plays summoner. This time around, I saw him register 2 more classes, but I'm pretty sure that in singles he will bring out the summoner if he does decide to come out in singles.
I remember back in Korea finals, we saw the in real life KFM from one of his teams that looked like Elvis.
Oh yeah.
Probably next to that guy. That's probably the in real life character that I saw in the Japanese side with the summoner. But none other than we're introducing the first NA team to play in World 2017, and it is Guardian with Vape and also Da Bears and Ikini really joining the side. You see the names written here. We will be introducing them by their actual names. Nathaniel Logan, Ian Ju Pinto, and Abizer Delona Nunez is going to be joining the sides here, but we'll try to refer to their in-game names if at all possible, so you guys are familiar. So,
yep, and like we said before, let's hope that Guardian plays and performs well because this is still their first time participating in Worlds, whereas Noonsang Fan Club already has that experience, and Satoshi Sekimoto is coming out with the Blade Dancer, and Ian Pinto is coming out with the Destroyer, the 2 spinners,
definitely. 2 He's going to be the fake spinner we're going to see here with the first match. But like I said before, Noonsang Fan Club, they need to be careful for this side because they are definitely not the same Japanese team you saw earlier with Basilisk time. These guys are much, much stronger, and we expect them to put up a show that we haven't seen from a Japanese side before. We can do that, but Guardian has to be on their watch. They're really aware of this. We spoke to one of the Guardian players right before this tournament began. We talked about, their first opposition being Noonsang Fan Club. They're very aware of the fact that they are very strong opponents, so they're going to keep on their toes. Hopefully we get to a good series of win to get them a win this season, but we are going to jump right onto Game 1 between Noonsang Fan Club and Guardian to begin us with the Game 1. So let's get the match underway. Let's get it on. First match between Noonsang Fan Club versus Guardian begins. Satoshi Sekimoto. He is the superstar of this team. Everybody knows him, remembers his name, remembers what he can do on that Blade Dancer. But it is going to be Vape trying to put out the efforts to get a win here. Very tough though.
Everybody knows Vape as well, so I hope Satoshi having that experience does not underestimate Vape either.
Definitely, you shouldn't be doing that against any opposition, especially against Vape, who has been doing very well. The NA regionals.
He is in the air. A knockdown. All right, lightning draw. Okay, a new way to use that lightning draw, but he is stunned.
Josh McCleave.
All right, saving his second win right now.
He still has it available. He hasn't used it to get out of there, so that throw was good enough, but it's going to be a Vape trying to go for it again, but Phantom Grip by Satoshi.
Yeah, finally using that escape to get that knockdown into the Phantom Grip. So they are trading off their escapes right now. Vape will get his guts back in 9 seconds, but he's taking so much damage.
What a series of damage coming for that second aerial. Now he doesn't have the lightning draw to finish him off a lot of damage.
Persistence.
Is it available now? So Satoshi could use it any moment now. Vape has to be a little bit cautious of what he can do. Another Phantom Grip coming towards Vape. Whether we're going to see the lightning draw here. There we go. That's a lot of damage coming in.
Into there.
Woo! Wow, Satoshi Sekimoto, we expected great things from this guy, and he feels it as he gets the first win of this match. And what a strong start to Noonstime Fan Club as they get the 1-0 up. It seemed like Satoshi was really just sizing him and checking it up and seeing what he should do, and got a very good idea of what to do and really finish him off there. Very good play.
He definitely knew what he was doing. He did not make any unnecessary moves, and he definitely played a high-tier mind game of when to use that lightning draw and when to re-knock down and when to sidestep to avoid any CCs. And, you know, it wasn't that Vape didn't play well. They both played well. It just seemed like in this matchup, Satoshi just played just one step ahead of Vape. And, you know, this is not over. It's best out of 4 versus 3 points. And this is just the first match that started off.
Very good by Satoshi Sekimoto. He really... Everyone expected him to do well and really just did exactly what he needed to deliver to the people watching him as he gets the first point for the side of Noonstime Fan Club. But for Guardian, he had to pick up some slack and get some points back because in the succession of the European side, XD picking up the win in their series. Really, the NA trying to do the same thing with Guardian, but it's gonna be Jabez. This is the guy that I've been watching for specifically because of how well he has done throughout the regionals, and I really just hope that he brings it to this table here. He's gonna be up against Koichi Hirota on the Destroyer though. Typically, when you have an assassin and a destroyer, we always say the assassin should have a little bit of edge in terms of mobility and the way you can really coordinate your CCs to make your opportunities count. But it is against the side of Noonstime Fan Club, so he has a lot of talent that he has to overcome.
Yeah, and Koichi Hirota on the Destroyer, he also is someone I remember from last year. He is very good and formidable with the Destroyer, and this is we are getting ready for the second match. Let's get it on.
After winning their first match, Noonstime Fan Club is out 1-0. This time with Koichi Hirota on the Destroyer. It's going to be up against Dabears. Nathaniel Logan on the Assassin. But
alright, already using his stealth. Koichi Hirota playing aggressive against an Assassin.
Yeah, it's very tough to see that.
So we go with the Typhoon. Oh, and pulls him in. And the back roll chase.
My goodness.
Koichi Hirota with that golden fish is doing work.
That was an aggressiveness that we haven't seen from a Destroyer against an Assassin in these typical situations, but...
Oh, another back roll chase!
Oh,
once again!
Stun onto the aerial now.
5 seconds until that escape comes... Oh, okay.
Dabears has to be careful here. He does get all of his escapes back very, very soon.
Oh, no back. Oh, and you heard that thing! You heard that thing! That was a reflect on Koichi's side. Koichi is... Oh, gosh. I don't know. He took something. He is doing work right now. Stealth is out again. 10 seconds for Lotus of Escape to come back. Dabear is running away, popping that landmine a little too quickly right now. Searing Strike to get close.
Dabear has to be a little bit careful. He has to see his opportunity before he goes in, but seems like Koichi Hirota really is negating any kind of opportunity that Dabear is trying to create.
Another stun lands and the back roll chase once again. 3 chases in a row, not missing.
Koichi Hirota has taken 0 damage from the side of Da Bears, now taking a minor hit from that bombard, but other than that, he has him figured out completely, and Da Bears
He's gonna end up
really
using his stealth very soon.
has to pick this up and really at least look for a mental composure re-knockback, because right now he's being seemingly dominated from this Japanese side. Has
Finally,
to look for a lot more to bombard.
Koichi Hirota is out of escapes. This is Da Bears' chance.
This is a bombard, but it goes into the air for the plumage. The wedge is going to be putting a little bit of damage. Will it be enough to finish him off? And that cleave will be good enough to finish him off. And Koichi Hirota, oh my goodness, on that destroyer. Da Bears did not see that coming. He thought he had the advantage with the matchup that he had against the destroyer with his assassin, but Koichi Hirota, this man, I mean, obviously it's my first time seeing him play, but I haven't seen a destroyer this aggressive against an assassin before.
Yeah, and you know, even last year, Koichi Hirota actually did make it to quarterfinals, or maybe even quarterfinals in the singles, and he has always played aggressive every time, and that is actually why he got knocked out in the quarterfinals, if I remember correctly, because he did go up against a Korean player, and playing it super aggressive all the time isn't always good.
Yeah, it's risky.
But in this matchup, he did actually make it work, and landing 3 chases in a row, forcing the Da Bears to always use his escape when it comes back. Another escape, you know, back to back, you know, bought him the advantage.
And another significant thing that we have to mention about that match is every time Da Bears went in for the initiate, Koichi just literally just countered every single move that was coming to him, and
there was at least twice where he backstepped out of the landmine, negating that knockdown. So yeah, Koichi Hirota knows what he's doing. Him and the first player, Satoshi Sekimoto, they seemed very calm. They did not make any, you know, rash judgments or, you know, hasty moves. Yeah, they knew what they were doing, and now we are into their third set.
And really, Noonsan Fan Club really showing what they're capable of, kind of showing themselves as one of the stronger teams in this entire tournament. They're up against Guardian from North America, but everything about what they have done through the singles so far, that has been their specialty up till now, but you're going to see their tag examples here to see how they do in that particular format. But Guardian, I'm sure their mentality has been a little bit shaken by those first 2 singles, but they really need to pick it back up, because getting these 2 points back in this tag would lead them to game 4 all even. So I need to lose hope and really need to stay strong to hopefully get onto this game 4. They need to stay strong for game 3.
Yeah, and if you guys have noticed, Guardian has the similar or the same composition as a Korean team would.
Sure.
Yeah, they do have the Destroyer, Assassin, and Warlock composition.
Typical,
so yes, typical but very strong, and it's the current meta right now, and we'll see how that happens.
We're going to go on to game 3 to see whether Noonsan Fan Club will close us out right here in game 3 with 4-0 sweep, or whether Guardian can get us back even with 2-2. Let's get to match 3 underway. Let's get it on. We're going to see Koichi Hirota, first man out for Noonsan Fan Club, but I mean, just ending everything you told me about Satoshi Sekimoto, I saw exactly as you described him as, but Koichi Hirota, this guy was a surprise to me of how aggressive he can play as a destroyer. Worked out that time around against Da Bears.
Yeah, but this is definitely a 3v3, so it's not the same as 1v1, obviously, and we'll see how each team prepare for this, how much they prepare their teamwork and their, you know, communication. It's very important right now, and Koichi Hirota is actually taking more damage compared to, you know, the Guardian side.
Seems like Ikini is making his first appearance of this series after not appearing for the first 2 singles. He was the first man out, but that's the key. To know it's gonna be the second man out that has been tagged in from Koichi Hirota. Come in there.
There we go with the spins. the summoner, just remember, Tatsuki Mizuno summoner is also very aggressive, but he is getting punished for that right now.
Defensive interfere is going to stop him from playing. Koichi Hirota putting that Iron Fortress up to defend. Nice Tatsuki as he takes a lot of damage from the Destroyer, but getting most part of it as he comes with that good interfere to help his teammate.
Alright, Backstep's out. He is trying to keep his distance, doing some damage. Actually, yes, that's what a summoner should do. Keep your distance and let the cat do the CCs.
Yeah, and really make
Oh,
this kind of happen.
offensive
Not bad.
interfere!
Oh, that's going to be a lot of damage, almost finishing off.
Good tag out.
Seemed like a Dabears came in with that interfere, trying to put that offensive use to the maximum potential, and he did there, almost knocking him out. Tatsuki does tag out in time for Satoshi Sekimoto coming in with that Blade Dancer.
Yeah, and Vape has 40 more seconds for his force tag. He
Lightning
might,
draw.
he should be able to, last that 40 seconds to, wait out for that force tag.
And Koichi Hirota coming in with that offensive interfere, knocking him down with a little bit of damage while he's out. So Dabears, it's gonna be good enough to force him in with that tag point being used. Satoshi Sekimoto, he's had this matchup before, where he has to go up against an assassin. Does pretty well against any other opposition that he's been thrown at, but Dabears looking for a little bit of retaliation after that loss in game 2.
Yeah, the resource points are even right now.
Oh,
the
my
lightning draw!
goodness, the lightning draw into the stun is beautiful, but the bombard is going to force him to use that attack point onto Koichi Hirota, his worst nemesis that he lost to in game 2. He doesn't want to lose against him again.
Alright, there we go, iron plating. Buying that time for the reactionary 2v2 to go away to make it into a 1v1.
Now Nathaniel, Dabears, he's lost to this Destroyer once in game 2. He doesn't want to do that again. Oh, but Koichi Hirota is still going aggressive like no other. He has no escape, but he's still going to move forward.
Yeah,
This guy.
he is just looking for that assassin stealth. Oh, he actually gets the area right now.
I just wonder why Koichi Hirota just doesn't play an assassin. He could do a lot better just being aggressive every time.
Yeah, but there we go with the body swap. This is his time, but the persistence with the Typhoon. Non-stop aggression right there.
Why does it seem like...
Usually it's the Destroyer running away
know.
and the assassin chasing, but
How's
right
the assassin running away?
Yeah. Alright, so we do have that reactionary 2v2. Well, actually, it was an offensive.
Yeah, it was just an offensive and it allows him to tag in. And now it's going to be a Vape with that.
Yeah, mirror
tag
match.
in, and it's going to be
But
getting a little bit of comfort compared to Dabears, who's been struggling against this Koichi Hirota Destroyer for a very long time.
And Vape is on the Fury build, but it's on cooldown, so he might want to play it a little carefully because he only has one tag point, so he might have to use one tag if he gets CC'd.
Perhaps Koichi Hirota is aware of the situation that he has already used the Fury build.
Koichi actually jumped into that Typhoon and got knocked back, but he... Oh gosh, there we go with the Typhoon wallbang!
It's going to be wallbang. It's going to be his second series of that. Yeah, Tatsuki coming with that interfere, trying to help him out, but Satoshi Sekimoto is going to be back out onto the field after that second tag not being used.
Alright, they are keeping the distance, but Satoshi makes his move into the aerial, just pile drives him down.
Ikini's second appearance into this match. He's done alright the first time around, but he did a little more than that. How about his team for the win in this series? But it seems pretty even.
Yes, it does.
Matters.
Oh,
It's going to be the beginning of that. The Warlock putting a lot of damage onto the Summoner. Tatsuki taking a lot of damage, but it's going to force out the lightning draw with that interfere coming in, trying to help out his teammate. But other than that, Ikini putting good damage onto Tatsuki. The first series of good damage coming in from the side of Guardian. It's very good to see.
Yeah, but now we have the Summoner out again and Cat annoying the Assassin once again.
Now Dabears really needs to look to redemption onto himself because against the Destroyer he couldn't capitalize on any situation. There he goes again. Koichi Hirota, the worst enemy for Dabears. He hates him officially now.
Yeah, officially. It's official. But yeah, there we go. He is trying to chase him.
There we go, stun! Will it be enough to finish? But he does.
Body swap.
Time
defensive interfere comes in, but the iron plating is just buying him time.
And that really Vape interfere coming to no use. Gonna pull him in. And he has no, finally used a tap escape now, but he doesn't have any A available. Will it be enough to knock him out? He does have a tap point, and he uses it!
Yes!
He does use it!
He's alive!
He will be alive if later stage he needs any type of assassin interfere, he will be there.
He will be there, but Koichi Hirota by himself doing so much work
Definitely the
now.
MVP of this series so far. He's been getting everything working, and he's just leaving his opponents with no room to do anything that they desire.
He might tag out. There we go. He used both his escapes.
All the tag points
and
are gone.
his iron plating. Yep. Well, on both sides, all the tag points are gone, but, you know, Guardian has one more interfere point. 30 more seconds until everybody gets one more interfere point as well.
Perhaps Guardian can use that to their advantage, but it's going to be offensive interfere with the reactionary resulting in.
Babe taking
But
a
it's
lot
going
of
to take
damage.
taking a lot of damage coming from the Blade Dancer with the Summoner, taking so much damage. The interaction. Oh, another lightning draw into the fall down. Gonna be choking him with the Phantom Grip, putting him above that lightning draw. He has no tap escape, and that is gonna be the end of Vape. For now, he could not tag out of this one because he had no tap point available. I mean, Ikini trying to stall this out as long as he can.
And everybody got their interfere point back in. It's not looking good for Guardian right now.
Dabers, even if he comes in for that interfere, it's going to be very bad for him because he has so little HP to work with. Even if he does come in, it results in an instant death for him. But Satoshi Sekimoto, knowing exactly what his situation is and the team's.
Oh, the interfere comes in.
But the Warlock is going to be putting it. Will it be the end of Satoshi Sekimoto? And that's going to be the first man out for the side of Noonsan Fan Club. We haven't said that for a very long time. And Ikini putting out the first series of damage, enough to knock him out. And now it's going to be Koichi Hirota, the troublemaker, for the side of Noonsan Fan Club, trying to just shake up everything that Guardian's trying to do. He's been successful so far.
If you look at the health bar, other than, you know, Ikini taking some damage now, the health bar seemed pretty even right now. Not anymore. Koichi Hirota doing work once again.
I mean, is this how you're supposed to play Destroyer? I'm just kind of having curiosity now. Like, nobody in Korea plays Destroyer like this.
Yeah, well, like I said, all the regions have their own style.
Okay,
and
the
this
shackles.
Koichi's style.
Yeah, and the shackle will be tap escaped by Koichi Hirota.
He is just chasing down anybody.
He doesn't care about what damage he might take, but he's just going in for the offensive.
Another aerial landing with the persistence used at the same time.
It's looking very bad for Guardian. He has very little HP to work with. Even if Daber decides to come in for that interfere, which he will get in the next 30 seconds, he'll be very low on health to do anything.
There we go!
And this might be the end of Abby's Air. It's going to be the end of Ikini. Oh, and he tags out!
Force tag!
It's going to be the force tag just enough.
Wow.
Second miraculous tag for the side of Guardian. If it does go to the TKO, you might need to thank him for that.
Yeah, and like I said, Koichi Hirota, he played very well last year as well, but it just seems like he leveled up even more.
It just seems like
last year.
Definitely. You haven't talked about him as much as you did about Satoshi Sekimoto.
Oh gosh, I didn't know he would be this great because, you know, I knew he was an aggressive destroyer, but ooh, this guy, now I'm gonna remember him.
Tatsuki Mizuno, maybe a third person you might have to remember if he does well, but on the Summoner he's done moderately well.
And I do remember him because of the cat whiskers that he always draws on.
That's not something you want to be remembered for as a Blade and Soul player, but good thing nonetheless. But Dabers hasn't got anything done throughout the series.
He did get some health back. Remember he had like 2-3% health.
Yeah.
But he got some health back, and now as an assassin, he must do some damage. There's only 50 seconds left until the TKO.
Ikini is trying to put some damage for the last few seconds. He got very little done. Now it's up to Dabers to try to put as much damage as he can, but it might not be enough.
He's doing it. The Summoner has
heals.
Yes, a lot of them. So now we are at the TKO.
It just seems visually that Noonsan Fan Club did more damage overall, but we might be in for some surprises. Oh, and it's gonna be Guardian picking up the win here,
and they stay in the tournament, making it even 2-2.
They keep this series going at 2-2, and we're on to game 4. I was just holding still for that pause, hoping and hoping. I mean, somehow they got a little more damage,
and that somehow is because the assassin was able to live until the end.
That was very much true.
Yes, no matter what happens,
that was very true.
99% of the time when you have an assassin on your team and the other team does not, you know, no, even though the assassin, he was out for most of the part because he was very low on health. The assassin's damage, you can't ignore it.
Yep. Even though Dabears did visually nothing to really add to the confidence of his team, that tag out with that 1% health was good enough to win this tag match. And now we're on to game 4, and it's completely even between Noonsan Fan Club and Guardian.
Yep, that was a very close match. And
I wish they show that. I wish they show that tag out.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, no,
oh it is right. It is right here. Go, my
God. Yeah, that actually gave them the win because that allowed Dabears to come in once more and do a little more work, do a little more damage. But like we said, we saw, Koichi Hirota, the Destroyer, no matter how aggressive and how well he plays, he's only a destroyer. The damage output is not, you can't compare it as much as an assassin. And, they do have a blade dancer, same thing as a summoner. Summoner probably did the most output, but
even that tag out right there on the force was huge.
Yeah, the force tag.
Probably Noonsan Fan Club is hitting themselves on the head of not being able to put out one more left click auto attack. Would have been enough to finish him up, but the assassin comes out alive, the warlock comes out alive, and that was good enough to win out the game. But really, everything that they're counting on so far, Noonsan Fan Club is pretty angry at the situation, I would imagine.
Seems like Koichi Hirota is getting ready for the last singles.
Oh, there he goes. It is going to be Koichi Hirota. I mean, call him what you will, but he has been very good at what he needs to do as a destroyer, and he's got them actual artificial results. So everything about a Koichi Hirota playstyle, you can criticize on it all you want, but if he gets you the win, it doesn't matter. And really, Koichi Hirota did everything right so far to get him a win, and also a very good contribution in the tags to really bother his opponents. So he's been doing very, very well for most of this part, so he's trying to do that, continue that momentum into game 4 to see if he can pick out another win to finish out the series. But we are going to go in right onto game 4. The last match between Noonsan Fan Club and Guardian will be underway with this last singles, deciding it all. Let's get to the match. Let's get it on. Along with Vape and Dabears coming into the singles, now it is time for Ikini, who, to be fair, has been doing very well.
Koichi has the Fury build. It's ready. He already used his tap escape.
He can't change it now.
He's gonna have to go with it. He procced it.
He's gonna have to go for it all, unless he's not gonna get anything. Like he's attacking the familiar, but he wants to go for the warlock. Another super sky animation. Thank you very much, Observer. Hey, it's gonna be over!
Get punished for that Fury
build! The
Fury
build is coming back on his head. This is exactly what you're talking about, ending with that risky offensive playstyle going against his head, and unless he can find 100-0 at this moment, Koichi Hirota looks very disadvantaged in this situation.
Well, 4 more seconds until he gets his area.
It's gonna be over! It's Noonsan Fan Club is gonna go down to Guardian, and Guardian will pick up the win after that miraculous tag win in Game 3. Koichi Hirota throws the game by going with that Fury build that did not work out this time.
Yeah, against the Warlock. And look at Guardian. They are happy and they deserve it. They lasted. They did not, they held themselves. Their mental, I'm pretty sure after losing the first two and, Hirota bothering them so much during the tag, I'm pretty sure they were tilted. They were afraid maybe. But they held in there and they were able to win the tag and the last 4th set. Congrats to Guardian.
Hey, I spoke with Dabears right before this tournament started, and I told him, just have confidence and you do not on default lose to the Asian team just because of lack of experience. And he really told me that, all that confidence was there, and even through scrimming against the Korean teams even, they had pretty fair results, really upping their confidence for the entire team. And they got to win against one of the tougher opposition they could possibly have with Noonsan Fan Club. And it's their first point in this Worlds 2017 in the group stage. So congratulations to Guardian for picking that up. But we are going to go to a short break and see Noonsan Fan Club back in action once again. We're going to go to the losers match after this break. So we'll be right back after this break, so stay tuned.
You've left me with no choice, my back's against the wall. Now the only thing that I regret after looking back is that I waited so long. But I know with all my beating heart, I'm on the right track. Wish I knew it all along. Heed the call, rise above it all.
Welcome back, everyone, to Blade and Soul Korea. Oh, we're not in Korea anymore. We're in the World Championship. God darn it.
We're in Korea.
We're in Korea, but we are doing the World Championship 2017. We are back with the last match of our opening session of the World Championship Day 1. We got to see all the Western teams, the NA and EU teams represented one by each, get a win. Which is something I very, very much like. So Western dominance is beginning and ending. You watch out.
All right, I'll watch out. Well, for our next matchup for losers, we do have the Vietnam team versus the Japanese team. Newsong Fan Club that you guys just saw get defeated by Guardian will be facing the Chosen One who got defeated by the EU team XT.
And it's really surprising to imagine that Newsong Fan Club would have been in a losers match.
Oh, yeah.
And that's very much a surprise because I know the strength of this team and the individual players who have successfully done very well through the previous World Championships that we've seen them from. But in the end, it's going to be them against the Vietnamese club, the Chosen One, to face off in this losers match. In the last match of part 1 of day 1, it's going to start very, very much soon. You see that guy on the left, Koichi Hirota. He was a troublemaker in both ways. He created trouble for his other team, but in the end, he created trouble for his own team by literally throwing the game with that Fury build that didn't work out against the Warlocks. So let's not do that again in the last match when it all counts.
Yeah, exactly. And this will be the last matchup of the first half of today. We do have a second half that will begin at 1900 Korea Standard Time. So, you know, we're going to have a kind of a long break after this matchup, but, you know, stay tuned and don't leave.
If you're confused about the time zone, it is about 2 hours and 5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
It's going to be when we're starting part 2. So whenever this game ends, we're going to have a short break. We say short break, but enough of a break to get us rested enough for part 2 to begin in 2 hours time. So just know that time zone to know when you be back. If you need a little sleep, go get that, just set your alarm.
Get that power nap.
Hey man, a 2-hour power nap is the best one for me, but we're going to see the two teams who have done pretty well, but not good enough to win out their first series that they have faced in this World 2017. There you see the Chosen One. Famo Hall on the Assassin did pretty well. Wen Fan Trong didn't do as much because on that Blade Master he had very little to do. Yoko Ki on the Summoner had occasional power damages that he put out with the Summoner, but other than that, didn't lead to any wins. So it's going to be the end of that for when they face off against the XT, but they're going to try again against a very strong Japanese side, the Newsong Fan Club, as we know them as very, very strong. So very tough assignment for the Chosen One to really overcome, to not become the last place in Group B. But on the other side, if Newsong Fan Club does lose on this one, they will be the last place in Group B, and that is something unimaginable coming into this tournament.
Yeah, and now we have the first matchup, and Koichi Hirota is coming out once again. We'll see if he brings out the Fury build or not. Let's hope not.
Please, no.
Yeah, let's secure that win regardless. And, you know, like I repeatedly keep saying that, you know, I want to applaud the Vietnamese team for coming out, even though their server's been open maybe just 3 to maybe 1 month. It hasn't been that long. I'm pretty sure they have practiced enough to come here, but, you know, they are still behind and the music has changed. Let's get ready for the first set. Let's get it on.
Here it is once again, making a lot of appearances already for me to remember him for the rest of my life. Koichi Hirota is back out on the Destroyer. Thank God it's not the Fury build anymore.
Yeah.
It's the Wen Fan Trong on the side of the Chosen One. We're playing the Blade Master this time around.
There we go. Second wind is used already by the Blade Master Koichi Hirota. As always, playing super aggressive.
I'm not even surprised by now. Like, I already know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Every time he comes out onto the field, he's going to go in like that, regardless of Fury build or not.
Yeah. There we go. The Flock of Blades knocks him back. Oh, gosh.
Wen Fan Trong has...
out of all escapes right now.
He's having a hard time. Already having used the Flock of Blades. That's the only source of escape that he could have, but other than that, he's really in trouble. And against Koichi Hirota on the Destroyer, he's going to have to find some answers, put in some damage. But as we say that, he's still taking so much damage with that constant pummel to the face. The wedge is coming through the side of Koichi Hirota.
Oh, the smash doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
but the Blade Master does save his second win, so he has maybe one more chance to live. And this
another
chance,
stun. He might have to use it now. He might have to because there's so much damage coming forward. He's getting the wedge. One more smash, all to do it. He's gonna get the blitz into the
there we
hurricane
go, the
instead.
knockdown, the back roll chase. Oh, the Searing Strike negates that back roll chase. Good
What
play.
is he supposed to do in this situation? We say that about Koji Hirota and how he lost game 4 altogether. When he plays like this every time, it just seems like the opponent has no answers to him. But
All right. Block the blades.
yeah, the Judgment Cleave combo, Cleave and Wrath was what he chose to finish him off. And Koji Hirota once again seems invincible and really leaves us the question on how he lost game 4 in the first place. In the end,
Yeah, his face just actually seemed like he was reminiscing about the game 4. He's like,
Yeah.
I should have just, not done the Fury build.
I would have thought that
Yeah.
he could have very easily won if he
Yeah.
had not chosen the Fury build to go extra aggressive compared to the already aggressive play that he has already shown throughout the tournament. So he's really making a name for himself, Koji Hirota. Win or not, he will be remembered as the most aggressive destroyer I've ever seen.
Yep. And it speaks for himself, his plays. He never backs off.
No,
he's always forcing the opponent to run away to, make room for him, with the way he runs through. It's like my way or the highway.
He probably should just get rid of the left button on this keyboard and just remove it from the because he won't need it. He just needs to put the right button all the time. Just go forward all the time. Koji Hirota, one win for him. Noonsan Fan Club is going to be very happy with that first point, and it's going to be 1-0 up for these guys. Second match will come up with the second singles in preparation for that third match with the tag match. That will eventually come up, but we'll be seeing who's going to get that second grab to this play. But last time around, we saw Satoshi Sekimoto really liking his chances to play in the singles, which he showed in the last series. But they will do it again. We have to see.
Yep, and this is the loser's match, so if you do lose here, regardless of who loses, you will be the last team, or the last place team in your group. And we do have Satoshi Sekimoto on the Blade Dancer and Fan Ho Hao on the Assassin.
I mean, this guy did pretty well. He put a lot of damage, and he knew exactly what he was supposed to do from time to time, but just that he didn't get enough support from his teammate in that tag match, and also in his singles, just a little bit of decision error led to his mistake. But all in all, Fan Ho Hao has looked pretty good on the side of Chosen One. Whether he can pull it off, another win could be off for Noonsan Fan Club if Fan Ho Hao cannot pick up a win here. So Satoshi Sekimoto, he's going to live up to his name to see whether he can get another win for these guys to get the Noonsan Fan Club onto a 2-0 victory. We will find out in the second match coming up. Let's get on. The second match begins after a 1-0 lead that Noonsan Fan Club has taken for themselves. It's going to be Satoshi Sekimoto coming out with that usual Blade Dancer. That is Fan Ho Hao, the assassin for the side of Chosen One.
Yep. And nothing too much happening right now. All right, the assassin is out of both escapes right now. Something did happen, and Satoshi is playing it very aggressive, very comfortably, Phantom gripping him, having all the escapes. Oh,
the lightning draw into so much damage coming from that lightning flash and the blade echo. Woohoo! 100-0.
Yeah.
In a matter of 20 seconds, that's the face that we're very accustomed to is Satoshi Sekimoto. Knowing he completely dominated his opponent, he's showing that there. And really the side of the Chosen One, Fan Ho Hao tried to do something, but there was nothing to do. Taking all the damage and really eventually died out in 100-0 in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, as an assassin, you have to try to, you can use your escape, try to stagger it at least, and stay stealth if you're in a dangerous position, but, Satoshi having the more experience, in this World Champions, he just,
my God.
Well, in this replay right now, this moment, it was inevitable because he was already out of escapes. I wish they would have shown when the assassin used both the escapes and why it happened, why it led to that moment. But Satoshi, good play on his side.
And it just seemed like Famahall was supposed to do that from the opposite end, with that assassin from 100 to 0.
Yeah.
He got a taste of his own medicine there, and
Yep.
he knew in the back of his mind that I was supposed to do that, I was supposed to do that, but
Yeah.
I mean, you get that done for yourself. It does feel very, very bad. We're going to get ready for the third match, the tag match. Hopefully, we can see a comeback from the Chosen One with the 2 points that can gather here, but if the Noonsan Fan Club, the 3 players, if they're ready to just finish out the series by getting 2 more points to end out the series, they can do that, but it's going to be about the Chosen One, whether those 3 players have what it takes to come back in this series and really extend us onto a Game 4.
Yep, and like I said before, Vietnam server hasn't been open for more than like 3 weeks, so them being here and competing against all these experienced teams is, you know, commendable. And, you know, just the fact that they don't just get 100 to 0 all the time, it just shows how good they are considering the server has only been open 3 weeks.
Just once.
Yeah.
100 to 0 just once.
Yeah, but, you know, it's not always the 100 to 0. If it were the case for me, it's like I wouldn't be able to compete against a 2-3 year or even 4 year veteran.
To be honest, I played Blade and Soul for more than 3, and I probably would get 100 to 0 every time. So kudos to them. So they do much better than me. So thank goodness they can do that. But it is the World Championship in Vietnam. They're being represented here by this team, the Chosen One, trying to make their efforts to get to the highest point in the stage that they can be. But I think the tremors are really coming out to these guys, and the nerve wrecks are slowly creeping up on these guys. I mean, I talked to you about this ending right before this match began. I think the Chosen One are in the worst possible situation to be in. To be in a loser's match is fine. Maybe they expected that, but against Noonsan Fan Club out of all teams, it just blows my mind.
But, you know, it doesn't matter which one comes. Like, XD or Guardian would have been hard.
Sure.
Regardless, even though, like, it doesn't matter Noonsan Fan Club, XD or Guardian, they would have had a hard time.
It's like you're playing an RPG, but the boss monster comes to you at the first stage of the game. It's like, that's not fair.
Yeah, you're not ready yet. You're not leveled up yet. And the last boss comes up. That's basically what's happening to them.
It's a terrible situation for the Chosen One, but they have to stay strong. I don't know. I think we're getting the loading screen. Trying to pick good these games, but let's see how long it begins. It's getting a little bit extended break before we get there. Go slowly.
Seems like we do have a problem, maybe.
Yeah.
And like I said before, let the problems happen before, you know, the matches begin. Because like this, when this happens in the middle, the momentum and the hype and the adrenaline rush, it all leaves, you know. And we don't want that for the players, not for us, for the players who are, you know, trying to keep that momentum going to, you know, get the win, or trying to, you know, hold on to their mentality to come back even if they're at a loss. But this pause, it just, you know, ruins all that, you know?
What's the adrenaline that the Chosen One has?
No, like I said, like they're trying to hold on to their mentality, and now the adrenaline is for Noonsan.
Sure.
They're going to run out now. And for the Chosen One, they're probably like, all right, guys, let's keep it together. Let's go. And then there's something happens, and we're like, phew, really? And now they have to wait. I don't know how long, but probably a couple minutes. And
I think they just restarted the game. I think we saw in the loading screen that they were just kind of finding a random force, and the match ended in 30 seconds. So I think they meant that. I think their error did occur in the game, so they forced a restart by finishing the game that they initially started. I think we might be starting very soon. We're trying to look for the loading screen to see if we're going to get any indication of that. We do have a different producer today. We hear a male voice instead of a grill voice. We're very, I'm alright with that. No cap pride on that one, but so we're happy with that. But because we have a different producer, so we get a little bit of different communication methods, definitely on how to really just understand the situation of what's going
and it
on.
Sounds different.
It does, because it's a male voice.
Yeah, it's a male voice. But anyways, so it's I can't. We don't get any voices in our head today. Yeah. Usually we get the voices in our head telling us like what is or what caused the problem, or you know which side has the problem, so we can tell you guys. But it seems like we are ready.
Somehow the problem has been fixed without the voices in our head. But we are gonna go right onto Game 3 to see the tag match, whether Noonsan Fan Club can finish up with a 4-0 sweep, or whether the Chosen One can pick us back up 2-2. Gonna find out. Let's get to the match. Let's get on. And there you go.
Yep.
Game 3 finally does begin with Noonsan fan clubs dominating currently with the 2 points that they have already gathered for themselves, as expected. Against a newly introduced, the chosen one from Vietnam.
Yep, this is their last chance to stay in the tournament. They have to win this tag to stay in, to go to the 4th set.
Koichi Hirota, you know, if I saw him as my opponent, I would just, you know, do that little animation where I just pick up the computer, just throw it out the window, and
don't even do that. Just go AFK. Go, you know, grab a drink and come back.
It's not enough, ending. It's not enough to relieve my frustration I have for Koichi Hirota's Destroyer style.
You won't experience the pain. But right now, it seems like it's pretty even.
Yep.
They did trade off an escape. They did, even though, you know, the Chosen One did use one more escape, interfere. And there we go, another defensive interfere coming in.
Yeah.
Other than the 2 interfere points that they've used and the tag just now, you know,
so many resources being used.
Koichi Hirota is, you know, staying calm a little bit right now.
Gokuki is out on the summoner. We haven't seen too many of this guy throughout this series specifically. So a little bit of him during the tag, the previous series where he did lose out. But all in all, just needs to put in a lot of damage when the opportunity does arrive to him. But other than that, the cat is trying to help him make that happen. But Koichi Hirota not having one care in the world of what the cat is trying to tickle at him. Trying to get him into the drag him in.
Yeah.
Looking for the knockdown. Koichi Hirota, but still taking damage from the summoner now.
Going in. Ember Stomp.
That's going to be a reaction 2v2 now.
Okay.
Putting in a lot of damage onto the summoner. Where he can hold on to this is going to be important here. Tatsuki, as soon as he comes in, it's going to be a summoner mirror match now, supposedly.
Yep, they both are the masters of summoners. Let's see which one, you know, is able to play the mind game better to land that sunflower.
The best summoner in JP and the best summoner from VN. Considered here, but the Vietnamese one kind of raises the white flag early and tags out. And Famahall on the assassin does come in.
Yep, and the summoner Tatsuki Mizuno still has his tab escape, and he has all the time in the world because he is almost at full health.
It just seemed like, with the recent trend, it just seemed like the summoner have a pretty comfortable time against an assassin, just the way they can poke around. Not for an assassin to do much to him, but other than that, Satoshi Sekimoto comes back onto the field with that tag point being used by Tatsuki Mizuno.
Yep, the defensive interfere comes in, 2v1, and Satoshi is just, you know, enduring it. They
Famahall is doing pretty well though, just kind of forcing out Tatsuki Mizuno out of the play and really giving a little bit of trouble to Satoshi Sekimoto as well.
Yep, and Satoshi is, like I said, doing so well. He is probably going to try to keep that tag point until that forced tag.
That interfere point was very good by the side of the Chosen One, putting a little bit of damage onto Satoshi.
Oh, he is backing off. All right.
Another series of damage coming towards Satoshi Sekimoto. Yamaha, along with his teammate, doing very good with using that interfere into successful damage. But as soon as he comes in, Satoshi Sekimoto uses that lightning draw onto the damage. Gets a little bit of damage onto the Blade Master and Wenfan Trong, but other than that,
defensive interfere once again. They are using their interfere points too hastily, kind of. Even though it is needed right now for that defensive interfere, they have to make opportunities and create opportunities and make Noonsang use their interfere points as well.
Good chase by Nguyen Phan Phong, and just everything about this play has been very good, but does tag out immediately goes toward Dokoki, but on the summoner, he's done pretty well last time around. Whether he can get another damage back onto Koichi Hirota, he's doing a very good job now.
Go. Koichi Hirota, even though taking so much damage, playing super aggressive.
It just seems like Noonsan fan club has really lost that adrenaline that you were talking about ending with that little bit of delay that we had. And really during that time off, the Chosen One really figured out a strategy that will work against them in this tag environment.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the assassin, he's out of all tag and interferes. It's not looking good. Even though they are at full health, the people on the bench.
Dokoki tags out. Family Hall. Back on the assassin. He's done pretty well. Mostly with the interferes coming in with that additional damage that his teammate is trying to put out. So good job on that one. Landmine does connect. Knocking him down. Tatsuki taking that damage from the bombard. Actually, going to be taking so much damage that we didn't expect from Family Hall. And it's going to be coming in right away. Tatsuki, as soon as he comes in, is going to be coming out, taking that damage as soon as we saw the interfere coming from the destroyer. Koichi Hirota.
The leaf is used. He still has his stealth. And you know, Van, he does not have attack points, so he has to last that 1 minute and 5 seconds for the forced tag.
But you know, what I think ending is that he's feeling very confident about the situation, a lot more than what he has felt earlier against Nusan Fan Club. But pretty feel confident about staying around for 1 minute. He needs to be careful though. The lightning draw coming in from Satoshi Sekimoto, doing a fair bit of damage onto Fan Hall, but stay out for 45 more seconds. He'll get a little bit of help from Doko Ki if he needs it. Hopefully from that defensive interfere if he will get one.
Yeah, and he has to wait for another 5 seconds.
Very good play
good
into the aerial. Poison breath.
Oh, no webbing.
Seemed like it didn't connect.
He could have bought that time for his stealth to come back, and it did come back. With the look. And he just used
what?
Stealth, because he got CC'd from far away, and that seemed like a little bit of a waste. But it's okay. He's still in there. He's still in there.
Stealthy. CC right there, coming from Satoshi Sekimoto, but the summoner now trying to put in the damage. Coming from Doko Ki, like we talked about, but it's going to be the first man out. It's going to be Satoshi Sekimoto knocking out Famo Hall for the first man down for the side of the Chosen One. Now it's the Japanese side, Nusan Fan Club trying to go to work, carry this momentum onto the second man. What they're trying to do here, Satoshi Sekimoto now finally showing his strength. Now Tatsuki coming in with the summoner damage. It's going to be the second aerial, even more damage, maybe no touchdown. Does he have enough to knock him out? But gonna stay alive for now. He does have one tag point. Wenfang Chuang, if he does decide to go out onto the way, which he does get chased as soon as he comes in. Koichi Hirota does a good job of chasing him as soon as he comes in.
There we go. The summoner is grabbed, and Koichi is never gonna back up, even though
no way.
Yep, and knocking both of them back with the Typhoon.
The Typhoon is gonna be good enough for damage, but the summoner has been bothering him all day, and Koichi Hirota has been really just marbled about what he needs to do against the summoner. He hasn't found the answer quite yet.
There we go. Grabs him, Ember Stomp. There we go. This is the time for him to do something.
Wedge into the power slam.
Tab escapes out.
Doko Ki has to be a little bit careful now. He tries to heal himself back a little bit, but other than that, he needs to look for additional stun. That is exactly what we're talking about. The lightning draw into the interfere coming in from the Satoshi Sekimoto is good enough to finish him off, and now the Chosen One is in a very uncomfortable situation with
very uncomfortable.
Wenfang Chuang, the last man out.
And everybody has an interfere point because the 3-minute mark has
It's a terrible situation because not only is it the Blade Master trying to pick up the 1v3, but it's against the Nusan Fan Club, which you have lost the first 2 singles on. Trying to carry that momentum is really a difficult thing.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate, but they're not giving up. He is trying his best.
Yep, and Koichi Hirota going aggressively. Just unlike any other time that he's done, Judgment Cleave is trying to go in. He's going with the Cleave Wrath, actually, with his combo. The damage now.
Summoner comes in, he blocks some of it, but he's not going to be staying out there for too long.
Good job of holding still. 2 minutes left in the game. Doesn't seem like Wenfang Chuang can stay that long, and this might be the end of it. Satoshi Sekimoto comes in for that interfere, finishes them off with the assistance of Koichi Hirota and Nusan Fan Club. Gets approximately 3rd place in this Group B, and although we expected them to place much higher, I thought they were the heavy favorites coming into this tournament, but losing out to the Guardian from the NA and going to this loser match, they do beat out the Chosen One from Vietnam to get themselves a 3rd place. But like I said, look on their face, it definitely shows a lot of disappointment because they probably wanted a lot higher placement for this first day of group stage than 3rd place. But in the end, a win does go over to Nusan Fan Club in the end in this series. And that will be concluding our part 1 of this day 1. We will have another part 2 coming in 1900 Korean Standard Time. We'll look at the replay here.
Yeah, all I remember from this match is that the assassin making that mistake or misjudging that situation where he tab escape first. Okay, you remember that part?
Yeah.
The tab escape and the not webbing, poison breathing instead of webbing. So those two. If he were to maybe just think about what he's gonna do beforehand or plan it, he could have had a kill at that moment. But it's very unfortunate that that didn't happen. Because I don't want the Vietnamese team, even though they are very inexperienced, I want them to have a taste of a victory.
Sure.
So, I hope they get their thoughts together and talk to each other about how they should improve rather than, becoming, you know, getting down or
Sure,
getting angry.
yeah, of course. I mean, you can recap on their past performances of day one and really just look at the VODs of how they played. I think they definitely could play better because I think with the potential they have in these players, especially with Famo Hall on that assassin, doing very well for the most part, but not getting the decisive win on his part. But in the end, it's all about, you know, the wins here for the Worlds 2017, but we see the winners from Group A showing over here, Pengandi winning out and Tourist winning out. And thank you from the losers match. We're going to get the win over Basilisk Time, so Japan team could not get the third place from Group A, but it is Nusan Fan Club, the other Japanese team, who gets the third place. So not a very good day for Japan altogether. We thought Basilisk Time may be understandable that they didn't place as high as they expected.
It is their first time participating here in this Worlds tournament anyways. So, you know, give them some slack. But we do have XD and Guardian, the EU and the NA team wins.
Western dominance. I'm telling you, it is beginning. And the last prediction I told you, it didn't come true. But this one, I believe it will come true.
And the next match is on screen right now. Here we will have some Korean teams and NA teams and EU teams once again. We will be back in roughly an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, hour and 40 minutes.
Hour and 40 minutes, 1900 KST. So, you know, if you are curious about how Korean teams will play in this matchup, you know, stay tuned.
And you'll definitely get all of the NA and all of the EU as well showing up. And it's really a tough one for Group B because, I mean, Group C and Group D will be showing very interesting team with GC Busan Blue and IDEPS showing their faces for the first time in Worlds 2017. We'll also get Hurricane, their Seed 1, coming in from NA, face off against IDEPS. It's going to be the first NA versus KR clash. It's going to be the first time of that we've seen in the Worlds 2017, but it's going to be a very interesting thing. So for an hour and 40 minutes, you guys do what you need to do for that time. Just get enough energy. Any method to do that is on your free will.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to say, like, I'm excited for all the players and all the teams playing, but in the second half, I want to see what happens with IDEPS versus Hurricane. So
it's going to be very interesting.
An hour and 40 minutes, let's go.
And we saw the NA and EU do successfully well in the first part of our day one event. We'll be back with part 2 in roughly an hour and 40 minutes. So stay tuned, have a little rest, and we'll be right back.